Welcome to another episode of Listen to Us Rant About Movies. I'm Wes Ford.
And I'm Zack Harris.
We rant about movies and drink while we do it. On this episode, we'll be reviewing our top 10 films of 2018 with two very special guests. Returning to the annual tradition, we have our longtime friend and Patreon producer, Sean Pierce.
Howdy!
And we also have a newcomer to the show, and my coworker, friend, and a UI UX designer, Catherine Hodges.
Hello.
Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you back, Sean, as always. And Kat, good to have you as well to do our favorite episode of the year. And
third year, right?
Yeah.
This is the third year we've done this, yeah. It's pretty exciting. What is everyone drinking tonight?
I'm drinking Boddington's Cream Ale. It's just a nice, smooth English pub ale. A yellow can there.
Ooh.
It's very nice.
Good little pub ale. All
yeah,
right.
a little pub ale, you know.
I'm drinking some. I've seen this around, but I've never had it, and I thought, hey, might as well get this perfect opportunity to try it. It's called Dragon's Milk. It's a bourbon.
I've seen that bottle.
Yeah, it's a bourbon barrel-aged stout.
Can we see the
Not
packaging?
usually... What's that?
Can we see the
Oh, yeah.
packaging?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see
Ooh. Yeah.
Sorry.
it.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's 11%. So
There you go.
Nice.
That's good.
might be
That's a good
feeling
start.
this. Might be feeling this. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not usually a stout guy, but I don't know. I've been trying to expand my taste on stouts lately, and yeah, I thought I'd try this one.
Nice.
Is it a
Yeah.
milk stout? Like, is it a milk? Like, it's called Dragon's Milk, but isn't it a milk
It's actually
stout?
not a milk
It's gotta
stout.
be.
I thought it would
What?
be. Yeah, I know.
confusing.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's a wasted opportunity. Yeah. Kat, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Florida Cracker, which is just a good
Ooh.
old. I just went for it. I was thinking about it. We were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I just gotta go for that.
Cigar City, good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, they are
It's
good.
good.
Sean, what you drinking?
I am drinking a off-dry apple cider from Stem Ciders in Colorado. So fetching. It's very shiny. Can't really see it, but it's some nice package design.
Ooh, that
then
is a nice package design.
It's very dry, low sugar, so it's pretty tasty. Going down smooth.
Nice. Well, cheers, everyone. Let's do a
Cheers.
little annual
Cheers.
sip here.
Cheers, yeah.
That's good. That's
Nice
good.
and creamy.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into our countdown, let's talk about the movies we didn't get to get a chance to see. You know, and
Yeah.
this will be obviously what won't be on our lists. So I'll go ahead and start. Here's a list of stuff I did not see: Shoplifters, Vox Lux, Burning, A Star Is Born, Can You Ever Forgive Me, The Tale, The Old Man and the Gun, Cold War, Happy as Lazaro, and Three Identical Strangers. Those are some of the films I didn't get to see, and I wanted to see. I just either I didn't have access to them, or didn't have time. So I feel like some of those might be showing up on some of your lists. I don't know.
We'll see.
Have a,
Who knows?
have a feeling.
Maybe.
Have a feeling. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I didn't see. What about you guys?
My list of stuff I missed is Border, Zama, Angels Wear White, November, Let the Sun Shine In, Western, Dogman, Cold War, Blind Spotting, Dead Pigs, and Hale County this evening.
Oh, that's another one I didn't see that I wanted to see.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was
good one.
playing last weekend. We were talking about maybe going, and it was also snowing, and it was like way on the south side, and it was like not gonna happen.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
So I didn't see most of the ones Zach just listed off because we see most of our movies together. So
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of those, and then I didn't see Madeline's Madeline. I didn't see Shirkers. I didn't see Happy as Lazaro, and I didn't see The King, which is what I wanted to see.
I also missed Happy as Lazaro.
Yeah. I think we all missed that one. What about you, Kat?
So pretty much all the ones that you guys already said. And I really wanted to see Vox Lux. That looked like that was gonna be cool, but I just missed
Yeah.
it. And I didn't get to see Mandy, which you saw and talked about and raved about and said was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see Cold War. That sounded like it was pretty good. And then pretty much
Yeah.
all the ones you guys said. I was kind of slacking this year, I'll be honest. I was playing a lot
It
of video
happens,
games
you know?
and like not watching movies, so it happens.
There were
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many movies this year. It was crazy.
There are a lot of movies this year.
A lot of movies. Good year for movies.
Yeah. And speaking of which, leads us right in. What'd you guys think, like, of the movies this year? What'd you think overall of the films that came out that you saw? Do you think it was a good year?
Yeah, I thought it was a good year, but I will say that both of you that talking to about making the list were all like, "Man, I'm having trouble squeezing them in," and I felt like I was having trouble filling it. You know, didn't come as easy for some reason. I feel like there were a lot of movies that I liked a lot, but not a ton that I was like all about. You know,
Okay.
but that's just
Yeah.
me.
I thought it was a great year for movies. I watched a lot of. I think this was probably in like a decade the most movies I watched for like going on a while now. I just kind of been slacking this year. I feel like I hit my stride and it watched a lot of content, slammed some major content. I really enjoyed a lot of different things. I feel like I forgot a lot of it. Kind of I would watch it, love it, and then 6 months later be like, oh, that was a good movie, kind of reflecting back on it, you know? So I kind of had to be reminded of how much I enjoyed a lot of movies this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good year overall. I saw a lot this year. There was a lot of movies, and I feel like I saw like a large portion of the ones that are like considered good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw so many movies, and it was honestly hard for me to condense those into like top 10, you know? Because like
Yeah.
I feel like after my first 5, after that they all were like equally as good, you know? Like there was like
Yeah.
20 films after number 5 that were just like equal, you know? So it was
That's
like
kind of how I felt.
really
that-
hard to place them.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
What were you saying, Zach?
No, I feel like I felt similar in the fact that like there was only a handful that were like definitely making it, and then it was kind of up in the air after that. It's like, well, I don't know, I don't know what to put, you know? It's like a lot of them are on even playing ground and like interchangeable, you know?
Yeah. How do you guys feel about your lists? Do you feel like pretty confident with it?
Yeah,
You
I like
feel-
my list. I like my list. Yeah, it's good.
I got a fine list.
I never feel good about my list.
Yeah, I'm not loving my list.
I'm always like changing it up. I'm locked it in now, Wes, so we're good to go. But
Okay,
I
I
always-
was just gonna say you might still be reordering yours right now, right?
yeah, you never know. You never know. I always like look back on past lists a year later, and I'm like, that's the one I picked, you know. So it's always like
it's tough.
I feel like top 10 lists should
It
be
is
done like
tough.
a year later.
Mm-hmm. So you got
Yeah.
the perspective.
Yeah, because there's a recency bias for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I would agree with that. All right. Well, lastly, this podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM. You can choose from 180,000 titles from your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And if you like what you hear in this episode, remember you can find other episodes of this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. All right. Now we're finally going to get into it. Top 10.
Woo!
We'll be
do
going
it.
in a circle, and we'll start with Zach.
All right.
Number 10, buddy.
My number 10 is Hereditary.
Oh,
Ooh.
I thought it was really affecting when I saw it. Like, not even on a horror level. I think it did a really good job with the characters. I was very excited to watch it again, and it stuck with me. It was there's a lot of hype around the horror movies that come out. You know, I feel like everyone's like talking festival stuff, and it's like, this is the one. You know, and I'm always disappointed, but I was definitely not disappointed. So maybe it gets a little bump for that too. You know, being like one of the few that rose above.
Yeah, for sure. Great movie.
Yeah.
Nice. Good pick.
Yeah.
Sean?
Did the end not kind of piss you off a little bit though?
I liked the end.
Well, I liked the end, but like, not to give it away, but I felt like they kind of tried to explain it a little too much at the end. Like, I don't know. I felt like it was all very much implied the entire movie. Mm-hmm. And at the end, they were like, "We're gonna like spell it out for you," and I was like, "I don't know. I think you just spent 2 hours spelling it out for me. I don't know if that's like."
Fair enough.
I mean, it's on my list too. It's very high on my list. I really liked it.
Hey, spoiler.
That was like one thing about it. I was like, I don't know. I didn't really like that, but I mean, yeah, no, I it's on my list too. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I
think a lot of people had like issues with the end, you know. But yeah, I'd say good pick though.
Oh yeah, good scares in that movie too.
Yeah, really
like
good
the
scares.
Underexposed people in like the shadows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Yes.
creepy movie.
I
Very
didn't
effective.
sleep well at all that night.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Not at all. I got like 3 hours. But I loved every second of it. I was like, oh my god, I'm so scared.
This is crazy.
This is great. Yeah, no, and like the months leading up to it, I would just watch the trailer like over and over again on repeat. Like it was weird. I was like just like going online to watch the trailer. I was like, oh my god, the trailer's so good.
It's a really good trailer.
I love the
It is a
little
good trailer.
dioramas too. Like I thought it was cool.
really
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Like we're kind of watching from the outside, and she's making this like weird little world about her life, and that was a cool little element they threw in.
For sure.
Good stuff. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Move it around.
All right.
All right. My number. I
feel like
think I'm next on the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yep, you are.
All right. So my number 10 movie of the year that I saw it with Zach Harris in a movie theater. So it's a movie. It is the Sense8 finale movie.
God damn it!
It's very much a movie.
It is. No, I guess
It's a movie. So it's
had to test the limits.
The TV
you know?
show Sense8, they made a finale movie.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and Zach and I saw it at the Music Box, which is a theater. It was a really cool screening. It was like a sold out crowd. People were audibly sobbing that it was like the loudest. There was like 500 people in the theater, and everyone was crying. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but it's a kind of a schlocky, fun show that doesn't take itself too seriously, but also like is very representative of a lot of different things. So it's a really cool show, but it's also silly, and it's a really fun time. But it was one of the best theater going experiences I've ever had.
I didn't even think to. Put
I knew
that
you
on.
didn't think. Yeah.
Oh, you little.
I mean, it was literally like I think there was 3 points throughout the screening where people stood up and applauded
Yeah, like during the movie.
and then like the
That's
entire
incredible.
cast and crew came out afterwards, and people were like, in my head they were like throwing roses. I don't think that's real, but they were like crying, and people were like, it was like the Beatles were there. It was amazing.
Someone literally stood up at the Q&A and was like, I love Sense8 so much. It's so amazing. This can't be the end. You have to make more. And she's like, no, I'm sorry. Like, this is the end. Like, Lana's like, yeah, like, we really, like, pulled it together. And it's a great ending. And he's just like, no! Like, I will find a way for you to make one.
I refuse.
Yeah, it was the only screening I think the movie ever had in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And so people like flew in from New York and California, like there was like a whole movement to save Sense8 and to Netflix, and they made these petitions, and then so it became this like rabid fan base. So people flew in from like I think around the world for this screening.
It was amazing.
I've never been to like a Comic-Con or any sort of thing like that. But I imagine what people experience at the Hall H or whatever when they're like dressed like Green Lantern and they see Green Lantern or something.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was amazing. It was it was really cool. So that's my number 10, Sense8, the finale movie.
You're right. That's a great number 10.
Right?
I wouldn't have even thought to put that on there.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I hadn't even heard of that.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
I
great
think I've
show.
seen the show on Netflix, like, I don't know, on the menu or something. But I didn't know it was good.
It's
I never
kind of
watched it.
like if you liked TV shows in the 90s,
Yeah, it's pretty 90s.
but
feeling.
you wanted equal representation, that is what it is. I feel
Yeah.
like it's
And it's real cheesy at first, and it like I remember starting it and I'm like, this is so cheesy, and then like by like episode 5 I'm like, ooh, this is so cheesy, just like
Yeah.
loving it.
It's
like,
good
oh,
cheese.
cheese tastes so good. I'm
Loving the
loving this
cheese.
cheese.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
it's definitely the cheesiest thing I like.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
So cheesy.
It's amazing.
All right, nice. All right, cool. So it's the Sense8 finale movie. That's Sean's number 10. Kat, what's yours?
My number 10 is They Shall Not Grow Old, which is the
Oh, nice.
Peter Jackson World War II documentary. And it's,
Ooh.
I don't even know if it's a like, I wouldn't even call it that because there's no narrator, like, giving you like a timeline of the war. The way he did it was really cool. Like he just took all this audio footage, or not, well, it's not footage, but audio recordings of like veterans from the war. There's like hundreds of hours of it. And he just used their audio to like stitch together kind of like the timeline of the war through their experiences. And it was really well done. I thought it was pretty different for a war documentary. So if you
Nice.
like history documentaries or History Channel before it was bad, I would say check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, I should have put that on my list of stuff I missed. I've been
Yeah,
wanting
me
to see
too. Also didn't catch it. I really wanted to. So
I've seen a lot of I know it's playing again on Monday, but I can't go. At least here. But yeah, the restorations look incredible. I've seen
For
like
sure.
some of the comparisons in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's pretty
It's
mind-blowing.
really impressive what he did. Must have taken so long. I can't
Seriously.
imagine.
yeah, that's cool. I still need to check that out.
Yeah, it only like ran for like 2 nights in Orlando. Like it was
Mhm.
like it was quick. It was like one showing a night for 2 nights and that was it. Me and my sister
Yeah.
just jumped
Yeah.
on it.
Nice.
awesome.
Very cool. Nice. Good pick.
Oh yeah.
All right. Moving on to me, I guess. My number 10 is Isle of Dogs.
Nice.
Aw, I love Isle of Dogs.
Yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
so cute.
So cute.
it's a great film. I'm a big fan of Wes Anderson. I think most of us are. And it just really spoke to his sensibilities, you know. I thought it was like just a masterful stop motion animation in general, you know, like just
Mhm.
looking at it in that perspective, it's like fantastic. The cast is amazing. And you know, there was this whole not conspiracy, but I don't know the right word, but like
Controversy over the
yes, controversy about the
like
language.
cultural appropriation. Yeah. No.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of see it, but I felt like in a way he was trying to be respectful, but maybe he didn't quite land the mark with some people. I guess I see that, but I felt at the end like ultimately like the language barrier was a little hindering and distracting. So that's why it's
Yeah.
not like higher in my list. But other than that, yeah, it's a great movie, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Feel like I could
yeah.
pop it on, watch it anytime, you know.
Yeah, it's so watchable.
Yeah, that's an instant classic. I think you can watch
yeah.
it like over and over again and still be delighted by it.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
All right, cool. All right, moving on to number 9 then.
All right, my number 9 is If Beale Street Could Talk.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Barry Jenkins. Really enjoyed this movie. It's obviously super sad, but it's very good technically. I absolutely loved the score. One of the best scores of the year, I would say. And I really
I agree
liked,
for sure.
I really liked it structurally and tonally. I thought it was interesting pacing. It was very slow and but not it was very slow but watchable.
Mhm.
It was very engaging.
Yeah.
I really didn't have many problems with it. I would say the Dave Franco scene was maybe the one that I was like, nah, I don't know about this part, but
You just hate Dave Franco.
but yeah,
That was
I don't know.
surprising
Yeah, I
to see
just
him in that.
really good performances. A really interesting small scale story that obviously says a lot, and just great looking and sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I recently saw it, and yeah, it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
And I would agree, like, fantastic score, like,
Mm-hmm.
just a beautiful film too. you know?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good pick. All right, Sean, number 9.
All right, my number 9 is The Sisters Brothers.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I love John C. Reilly. Always. I see just about every movie he's been in. Haven't seen Holmes and Watson. Gonna wait on that one a little bit. But I'd say I love John C. Reilly. I find him so watchable. Just anytime he has major screen time, it doesn't even matter the movie. I'm immediately just intrigued enough to like really want to go see it. Sisters Brothers, I was kind of going into it a little pessimistic. I didn't hear much about it, and he's like the star of the movie, and I kind of thought he was gonna die 5 minutes in for some reason. I was just like, it's not gonna happen. But yeah, it's basically just him and Joaquin Phoenix bickering for like close to 2 hours. It's amazing.
Heaven sounds like heaven.
It's truly awesome. It also really paints the Old West in like a kind of more realistic, low-key way, where something like figuring out where like a toothbrush is like a really big deal.
Yeah.
And there's like multiple scenes of John C. Reilly brushing his teeth. Automatically,
it's so
5-star
good.
movie. Or just like the way that they get money and then what they do when they have money, or there's some science behind kind of the driving plot of the movie that's really clever. I feel like it's one of those movies that if that movie is ever on, I'll get into it and enjoy watching it. And there's Jake Gyllenhaal like is in the movie for a little bit, and he gives a very fun performance. It's just a really well done movie, beautifully shot. It's by a French director who I've liked his movies a lot, and this is his first American movie, so this was also the funniest movie I've seen of his. He normally has these very like Rust and Bone he did, which is very serious. It's Marion Cotillard who gets her legs bitten off by a whale, and it's very serious. And so like this was like
Oh no.
John C.
Poor
Reilly
Marion.
brushing his teeth and eating spiders. It was I just loved it. It was
It's
so
a lot of
fun. It got across how gross and misogynistic the West was, but didn't like make it the entirety of the movie. It just kind of hit on it. And there's a scene where he tries to spend the night with a lady of the night, and he's like nice to her, and she doesn't know how to handle it. It's just like it's not a perfect movie, but for what it is, it was like a perfect movie. So I'm glad it exists. The Sisters Brothers.
You're selling it.
a
Yeah,
good
I
one.
want to see it.
For sure. Yeah, one thing I really liked about the movie was that it was like very unconventional for a Western, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
It goes against the tropes and almost like plays with them in a way. And
Yeah.
I felt like it did something really unique and interesting too with I don't want to spoil it, but what happened, they find like a prospect, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really cool and interesting.
Totally.
Yeah.
Definitely a good film. So good pick.
Yeah.
All right, Kat, you're number 9.
Number 9, also a Western, Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say that probably hasn't already been said. I mean, everyone likes the Coen brothers. They're just good at what they do. I think something cool about this movie is like I was kind of looking earlier about like all the there's everyone reviewed it, anyone's reviewed it, but everyone's list is so different when it comes to ordering the stories. And I just think that's really interesting. Like everyone has a completely different list. Like I saw someone from Variety and like their top pick was like someone from like Vulture's like bottom pick. Like I just think that's really weird. Like
Right.
that must mean they're all really good. I don't know what that means. It
Yeah.
just means they're all good.
Yeah.
What was your favorite one?
I really liked All Gold Canyon. So the one with Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right? It's just it was just it
It's
made
so
me
good.
laugh. And you're
Very
just like
good.
rooting for him so hard, and I love that.
That
one.
one's
It's a great one.
so funny.
It's amazing.
So funny.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Zack is a huge Tom Waits boy, so
Damn.
Oh, that has to be the top thing. Yeah, he's got such a good voice. Oh,
He
it's
does.
so good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Beard is beautiful in that one too.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just like waiting for him to show up in the movie too, and then it just like cuts to trees. It's like, it's like, oh,
You
there
know
he
it's
is.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, yes.
Yeah.
So good.
I hear that grumble.
Yeah, for sure. All right, nice. Good pick.
Definitely.
All right, cool. So my number 9 is Under the Silver Lake.
Oh.
Yay.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, I just saw this
Hot pick.
movie. Yep. And
How'd you see it?
it's I borrowed it from Kat. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Oh, so you bought like a
Interesting.
region locked European Blu-ray or something?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Interesting.
Well, my
It's
boyfriend
up-
got it for me.
Yeah, it's up in the air. We'll blame it on him.
Interesting.
But yeah, I really wanted to see this movie, and I'm glad I got the chance to before the top 10 because it's really fantastic, and it's a really strange and unique movie, and almost hard to describe in ways that aren't like already being talked about. But it really is like a David Lynchian type of film. It feels like one of his, or almost like an homage to his films, like Mulholland Drive mainly.
Very much in the spirit of, definitely.
Very much so.
Cool.
It completely immerses you like in LA, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I've been to LA in so many ways from other movies and like even video games and stuff. But like, even if I never experienced that, I feel like I got almost a tour of LA through the movie, which I thought was really cool too. Yeah. And the whole thing just, it feels like almost like a fever dream. You know, it's just so strange and weird. Andrew Garfield like completely loses himself and his lazy conspiracy theory stoner character. It feels like almost like a future cult classic too.
Nice.
And it kind of proves to me, like, I feel like Tarantino does a lot of homage, but like this feels like an homage, but one that can be original. You know, like not all homages to films, like it's its own, but pays homage to other things. But yeah, it's very bizarre, but I thought it was unforgettable at the same time, and I really enjoyed it. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it felt like not that long. Like I almost wanted to keep going. I felt like
you get
That's always a
very
good
lost in it, right? Like you're like,
Yeah,
you're just
you
like
get lost
bopping
in
from
it.
little vignette to little vignette, and you're like, whoa, where am I?
yeah,
Well, I would really like if you could shoot me the link to that Blu-ray. You know what I mean? send me the link to that. I'd love to put that up and watch it.
Sure,
you know?
man. You know, I'll mail it to you. You know,
Yeah, it sounds
I'll mail
good.
it to you.
Sounds good.
Okay. But yeah, Under the Silver Lake, that actually technically is a 2018 film, but they pushed it. It's going to be released wide release, I think,
Really?
like later this year in like summer.
Oh, I didn't know it was a 2018. Oops.
Yeah. No, so that's perfect. It fits right on the list because it's technically 2018. So
Holy shit, you're right. I totally forgot what year
I
it
think
was.
you got confused there.
I was like, wait, what year is it? Okay, yeah.
How
That
strong
actually
is your
makes a
beer,
lot of
Kat?
sense. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just asking how strong your beer was.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's like a 5.
High percentage
I
on there?
think. It's a
Yeah, but
5.5.
Okay.
But
nice,
she's
nice.
actually she's on her 8th one, so
Oh,
Yeah,
That's fine. I'm a little
But yeah,
spacey. I don't know.
yeah. Honor the Silver Lake. Every one of you need to check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, we'll
Very
do.
cool.
Yeah.
Good
Pack
pick.
it up, dude. Mail it over, man. You know?
For sure, man. All right, Zach.
All
You're
right.
number 8.
My number 8 is Lynn Ramsay's You Were Never Really Here. Rewatched
Nice.
this one recently, and it held up very well. Really like Joaquin in this. Really like the editing. I think that's probably the standout for me. And just the way that it visually doles out information and like doesn't just like tell you what's happening, but shows you in an interesting way, or uses weird shots that are kind of like dislodged from like a time to like explain things.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, and also the score is just a
So
total
good.
banger.
Yeah.
Total banger.
This
of
would
the
be a
score.
number 11 for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. The rewatch really solidified that slot. You know,
Those
it was
gummy
a solid
bears.
Rewatch. Oh yeah, the scene where he's just like, "There's no green."
Oh, the
ones."
gummy
He's
bears.
eating the jelly beans or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, so
Then
good.
he smushes it. Oh, it's
Smushes the
great.
gummy bear.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, good pick, man. Joaquin Phoenix. that's two good movies that we've mentioned so far that he's
He
in.
had a good year.
Yeah,
He had a really good year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he has a really good performance in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's fantastic. So
Mhm.
yeah, good
Killer.
pick, Zach.
Solid movie.
All right.
All right, Sean, number
My
8.
number 8 is Paul Schrader's First Reformed.
Nice.
Oh man, nice.
Yeah, this is
Controversial.
Oh yeah, is it? Oh no. Well,
It's controversial.
I loved it. I feel it just hit a lot of sweet spots for me. Stylistically, it's a style that I just gravitate towards all the time in terms of if I was ever good enough to make something like that. It's just stylistically, it's right there. Or also movies I like to watch. It harkens back to a lot of cool stuff. I always love movies that talk about religion. Always find it interesting, and then just stuff just like slows push-ins on people pouring Pepto-Bismol with whiskey. Just a killer like
fantastic.
just
It's
it's
so
right
dramatic.
in the wheelhouse. Right in the
Yes.
wheelhouse. It's so serious, but then also has a crazy time and space transformation scene in the middle of it. It's just I just love the way it plays with tone, or that it's like one of the more serious, heartbreaking movies I've seen this year, and Cedric the Entertainer is like the third lead. It's just,
Yeah,
It's
it's pretty amazing.
It's just a really, really good movie. I grew up on the East Coast, so I went to a church like that, where you kind of, as a kid, I remember just like looking around and being like, why does this exist? Because like, you get like 6 people that go in there, and so like it just hit a lot of sweet spots. I love the movie. I've rewatched it. It says a lot of good things about important things that people don't want to hear about our future of our world and what we're doing. It's bringing a child into the world. The older I get, the more I think about that. It's just like hits a lot of nerves, and just a great 2018 movie. Also Ethan Hawke just crushing it. So
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Kat, how'd you feel about that movie?
we've had this discussion, right? Okay, I would agree that like I really did like the style. I thought it was good. I didn't like the story on it personally. It kind of pissed me off. Like I like, and listen, like I agreed with the message of the story completely. Like I'm getting the message, but like I even felt like I was like, oh my god, like they're really shoving this environmental thing down my throat. And like I care about the planet. I believe in like I'm not, I recycle. Like I'm, like I care. But yeah, I was just like, oh my god, like again, like they're talking about it again. So I don't know, that kind of like soured, and I just the ending as well. Like okay, I was about to say something spoiler, but I wish. It felt like, I felt like it was going a certain way, and I was like, okay, like this is gonna be cool, and then it didn't go that way, and then I was like, well, that's a cop out. But
Oh yeah. Well, we actually saw it.
I
Zach
hear
and
ya.
I saw it with Paul Schrader, the writer director, and he said that
cool.
That's
That's-
incredible.
that certain way that you might think it's going, not to spoil it. He said that way was too expensive, so he couldn't do that way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he did talk about that, and
Oh, wow.
I think that actually I've seen a lot of movies where people are trying to do something and then they do it in the end, and it's like this crazy thing. And I think sometimes it's more interesting to not do it. And I actually, in retrospect, I
fair.
think that sometimes building towards a conclusion and taking it away from me in the moment, I'm like, that's bullshit. But then I kind of respect it more in the long run. So I think that First Reformed is it's a grower.
Yeah,
Kinda-
that's
it
fair.
lingers.
That's a fair
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Definitely lingers for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Also, it's a killer aspect ratio change on that one.
Yeah, that was a cool aspect of it. I appreciated that. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I felt like they used that like aspect ratio in like really unique ways as well, like
Yeah.
playing with the camera in that aspect is really interesting to me
Totally.
because it's not a thing we see anymore,
Mm-hmm.
Kat, you're number 8.
My number 8. Okay. Oh, my number 8 was Under the Silver Lake, so pretty close to
Nice.
where
Oh,
we
nice.
had it. Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, not much else to say, but what we kind of talked about before. It's just it's very fever dreamy. I would say that's probably like the best way to sum it up really quickly.
Sweet.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was very different, and
Yeah.
and I really like it's the same director who did It Follows, which wasn't a perfect movie, but I still really liked, and I would definitely say it's like you can tell he matured a little bit, and kind of got better at fitting it all together. So yeah, I liked it a lot.
Awesome.
One other thing I forgot to mention too is like it felt very much like almost like a passion project for him. You know, like you could it felt like he had thought about this movie for most of his life or most of like his career, you know, and really always wanted to make this type of movie, and I don't know, you could like feel the love in the movie.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
You could feel the passion to it. So that, I like
those are always the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So my number 8 is The Writer.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought this film was. I think it's just incredible that it exists to begin with. You know, like the fact that it's like it's partially a documentary and it's partially fiction. It uses mostly non-actors that give like fairly decent performances, especially from the main character, played by Brady Jandrow, I think as you say his name. And it's basically about his life and his own real life experiences, placed into like a fictional film, which I think just in concept is a very interesting idea. It's also really beautifully shot too. Like every shot is gorgeous. Like you get these great just images of him like on this ranch and him riding the horse. It's just really well made. It's really well made for what it is.
Sounds cool.
Can't stop thinking about it. And it also like it tackles that idea of like what's so heavy about it is like it tackles the idea of what it's like to lose the ability to do the one thing you're meant to do in life. You know, this one guy who's meant to do one thing, he loses that ability to do that one thing. What do you do? Like, how do you feel? You know, like, and that's in that way, it feels like a documentary too. It just happens to be shot cinematically, and I found that to be really fascinating. And I think it's fantastic. So if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's The Writer.
No, haven't even heard of it.
Sure.
It sounds cool. Yeah, I'm into it.
All right, moving on to number 7, Zach.
All right, well, my number 7 is Joel Petroius' Relaxer. Sean just is like, hey, is Relaxer not on your list? But
it's Relaxer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which we saw at Cinepocalypse this past year. I don't know if it's like as good as some of the other stuff on my list, but I just found it insanely entertaining. I think it's a really great use of a low budget. It's all about a guy who like will not get off his couch due to like a challenge until he beats Pac-Man. So
oh yeah, I heard you talking about this movie a while back.
And it takes place during like Y2K, so it's like building up towards that, and it's definitely about nostalgia. And I was really worried going in that it was going to be some like, you know, like super like reference heavy nostalgia movie, but I actually thought it did a really good job at portraying that, but not in a way that was like showy or callbacky. That just felt very natural. It gets really surreal and strange as it goes on, and I just think it would be a very challenging movie to maintain in this. Like, there's a lot of single location movies, but not a lot of ones where the guy is like sitting in the same place the whole time. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of minutia of him struggling to get off the couch.
Yeah, or like he's thirsty and he's like digging a hole in the wall with like a stick to like get a drip of water, and like I just thought it was super funny and really weird.
Awesome.
And yeah, I really liked it a lot.
Very inventive, clever. It's like a bad idea that's taken to its logical conclusion and thus made amazing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. Good pick.
It's a banger.
Doesn't the whole thing take place on the couch? Like,
Yeah, the
yeah.
whole movie takes
Yeah.
place in the same
Yeah.
room, and he's sitting in the same spot the whole time.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. They built like a set. It looks really good.
Yeah, it looks great. And yeah, a lot of some people coming in and out, but also a lot of him just like on his own. And it's all based on these like weird challenges. Like the movie starts and it's his older brother like making him do this challenge where he's like in his underwear drinking milk out of like a baby bottle. And he's got to like drink like so much milk like every 3 minutes, and he's like videotaping it. And then there's all these like videotapes of all these old challenges that they did, and it just felt like a very real thing. You know what I mean? That like people would have done. But yeah, and I actually listened to an interview with the director where he said that they had parties where they all did that milk challenge.
Oh yeah,
which is really fun.
funny. Challenge.
And they would all throw money in, and the last person to puke got to keep the money, so everyone would puke eventually. But
Yeah, gallon challenge. I did it with
you did the gallon challenge?
Yeah, high school.
I think I would literally.
Macusis.
I would literally die if I did that challenge. I don't think
Do you have
I
to
would
like
do it.
chug a gallon of milk or something?
You
Is
have
that
to
what the
chug a
challenge-
gallon of milk within an hour, and it's impossible. I stopped after like
Ugh.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, did you chug
Wait,
it
an
or did
hour?
you do like
I could do
3?
that.
Because it's like you do like a small glass like every like 3
Well,
minutes.
there's different
or
ways to do it,
something.
but like the
I
original
feel like
one
I could do
is,
that.
you
Yeah.
can't. But go for it if you want to.
You can't.
If you want to do it on the
cannot.
podcast over Skype, this could be amazing.
you might be able to do it with lactose-free milk, right?
I don't
Isn't it
know.
I
It's
think
just
it's
a
the
gallon?
lactose.
Go for it, please.
No,
Honestly, if we wanna take an hour break
it's
and do
probably
it-
a mistake.
What's the other one? We have a
But it
coworker
sounds
who always
like
talks
it.
about
Sounds
eating
okay.
2 bananas and drinking a Sprite.
Yeah, have you heard of that one? 2 bananas and a Sprite?
No.
Apparently your body
No.
like can't take it or something.
Yeah, you vomit because the way the potassium interacts with the Sprite.
The
or something.
Sprite.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like what?
I don't know.
Who found that out? He's just like, yeah, I ate 2 bananas and a Sprite.
Somebody
I'm
had
like
a bad
feeling
day.
terrible.
He posted some YouTube
Oh,
videos
man.
and we watched people vomit.
yeah.
Well, you know, coworkers.
Yeah. But anyway, Relaxer. It's a banger. I think it comes out. I looked it up the other day. I think it comes out in March on Oscilloscope.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. Very
Yeah,
cool.
definitely worth checking out when it comes around. I was a big fan.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds
Will do.
right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Sweet.
So my number 7 is Zama,
Nice.
which is
Nice.
a movie about a Spanish officer trapped on an island, kind of in between before he gets a major promotion, and he's basically waiting for clearance to get that promotion to leave this island, but people keep telling him it's just like a few more days, a few more weeks, just talk to this person, and basically it kind of spirals down from there. I won't go into too much detail. This is a very there was a lot of talk this year about like The Favorite being like the second coming of Stanley Kubrick, or like this Kubrickian thing, and to me this movie, that movie, it just didn't register with me. I just was like, I should love this, but I don't, and kind of left me cold, where this one was like the exact opposite, where it reminded me of like my favorite things about Kubrick, but then just a really cool writer director, Spanish woman she's done some other stuff that I've only seen one of her other movies, but it was the sound design in all her movies is kind of what she's known for, and I think that's really interesting that like that's what she latches onto with movies, is the sensory sound experience. So there's a lot of like recurring cicadas and various auditory things that make it feel monotonous, and some people the movie feels a bit like just like a bit of a slog to get through because it's someone just constantly being frustrated with not progressing. But for me, it was like kind of relatable in some ways, and it just hit on a lot of really strong, visceral, like emotional kind of things that I thought was amazing. Also, the director, I believe she had cancer and she was about to die, and she was gonna put up the movie, all the raw footage, for free,
Whoa.
so that everyone could just edit their own versions of the movie.
Oh,
But
that's
then-
pretty cool.
But then she recovered and she beat cancer and like finished the movie, and so this was like she like stuck through it, and it was like her personal accomplishment. Just like very inspiring
That's
story,
incredible.
and just really, really just like very effective. I saw it like 8 months ago, and I still think about it. It's on Amazon Prime, so I recommend if someone wants to watch kind of it's Kubrickian in the way that's like a classic structure of a man in hierarchy who's abusing his power and kind of also bored with his place in life, but done in a really refreshing way that doesn't feel like I've seen it before. And then the last third of the movie becomes like a adventure film in a really cool way that just when I was like, all right, this needs to change up, it becomes like also there's a lot of cultural stuff, a lot of interesting tribal facts and living on the land stuff that I'm always just into. So Zama, check it out.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's
cool.
it's a good pick, Sean. I saw it a few weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
I really liked it. Really liked it. That the opening shot is incredible.
Yeah.
The opening shot is amazing. And like honestly, the first scene was like my favorite of the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's a good film. It's a good pick.
Awesome.
All right. Kat, number 7.
Okay, number 7 for me was Annihilation.
Cool.
Nice.
I really liked the book. So I thought it was like, I really liked that it didn't just do the book, like it did its own thing. I appreciated that. I thought that some of the like visual things in that movie were really, really cool, very different. There were some like inconsistencies, I would say, in quality throughout that could sometimes be a little like, well, that didn't look very good. Like, I mean, there's like these really amazing like 3D special effects at the end. Your like mind is being blown, but then like in the middle of the movie, there's like some special effects that are like, I don't know. You're just like, well, that doesn't look great. So that would be my gripe about it. There's like there's like a scene where like, I don't know, you're like kind of seeing inside like someone's like stomach or something.
Yeah.
And like it looked like very B movie, but then like at the end is like so not B movie. You're like, whoa.
Right.
So but you can forgive it. I forgive it. I really liked it. I thought Natalie Portman was good. Some of the other actors weren't as good, but she can kind of carry a movie on her own at this point. So
She can.
Yeah, she really can. All right, nice. Great pick. I love that movie. So, great pick.
It's good.
Oh yeah.
It's good. Okay. All right, my number 7 is, and I just saw this today. Minding the Gap.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Saw
Yeah,
this
it's a
today.
great movie.
It's a really good documentary. Like,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
What's it about? I don't know if I haven't heard of this.
it's sort of about this guy who throughout his younger years, through many younger years, he films his friends. They're skateboarders, they're young kids, they're living life and trying to make it. And he just sort of records their lives, but he dedicated himself to creating this like legit documentary. And he does it for a guy who was like very young, probably just had never really done a real movie before, to like commit so much of his time and his life to filming his friends and to like get meaningful conversations out of them and how they feel, and like to capture like real genuine emotional moments that they're having. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that this guy like did this, like basically an amateur documentary filmmaker just like filming his friends and like made something very worthy out of that footage,
Yeah.
Like, super effective.
It's kind of a dream for amateur filmmakers.
It really is. It really is. It's amazing.
Oh, it sounds beautiful.
It's really good. It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
If you have Hulu, check it out. It also has it makes a good like double feature for my movie previously, The Writer, because it deals a lot with like males like being unable to express emotion, or feeling that they can't express emotion a lot of the times, like when you're growing up and stuff, and like how like skateboarding for these kids was like their escape. And like skateboarding never captured me personally. I never really got into it, but I had a lot of friends who were really into it, and I could relate through them because I felt like I knew these kids in the documentary because they felt like my friends from high school.
Yeah,
almost. Like
totally agree.
I feel like I knew them. They were just like my friends, so I felt like a weird attachment to that. And just like I just felt in the end it's like a reminder. We're just all fucking living, man. We're all just trying to do our best.
Yeah.
And like life sucks a lot of the time, you know, but we try and make it through, and that's what this documentary is about. And I think it's incredible to me, so it's worth checking out.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
Did you have a
Great.
bad fall? Is that why you didn't get into skateboarding?
Yeah, I fell once, and I was like, it's not for
Yeah,
me.
no, same, totally the same. Yeah. No, it was like I was like 7th grade, and I had like a really bad fall, and I was like, that's good.
I was like,
good.
I'm not good at this. I'm done.
Yeah, bye. Well, and if you're
Yeah.
not good at it, it can be very, very catastrophic. So
For
I
sure.
was like, yeah, no, narrow
Yeah.
feet, not gonna work for me. So, yeah. No, but it sounds like a beautiful movie. I'll have to check it
Yeah.
out.
Personally, I was all about my Razor scooter, so that
Oh,
was
yeah.
my world.
Did you
What
rock a
color do you
wheelie
have?
bar?
Those were really cool.
Yeah, I was totally into the Razor. That was my thing. So
Could you
Nice.
do like like the thing where you like jumped up and you like twisted it around underneath your feet and then you landed back down?
Scooter
not
flip?
very well, but yeah. I attempted it.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
do you,
minding
do you
the
have any
gap.
footage of that? Maybe you make your own Minding the Gap about Razor Scooter.
Oh, yeah.
That as well, yeah. Could you do your own Minding the Gap about Razor
Yeah.
Scooter kids?
Yeah.
I'm sure out of the random clips it'd
You're
be
out of
just
time.
as meaningful. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, we're number 6. Getting closer,
All right.
guys.
My number 6 is Isle of Dogs.
Oh.
Nice.
Big fan of Isle of Dogs. It's a banger. The animation's incredible. I'm a huge sucker for stop motion, and I don't know. It's just super entertaining,
Killer movie.
really well executed, funny, super watchable. Big fan.
It's good stuff. We already
Yeah,
talked
man.
a lot about it.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
much else to say.
I feel like.
It's on
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
list, I'm guessing, yeah.
It's
We'll
not
talk
on
about
my
it 4
list,
times.
but if I could have
Oh,
if I could have a
no.
number 11, it would be Isle of Dogs.
You already said it would be.
Oh,
You
I
already
have a
said
few number
that,
11.
yeah.
So let me just say.
Number
But
12 then, yeah.
I love that also it like low key introduced another animation style on all the monitors. Just
Yeah,
a quick
totally.
aside.
It's amazing.
With all the like 2D stuff, whenever there's a screen, it's a 2D thing, and then it cuts in. It's stop motion. Just that little detail I thought was really cool.
Oh yeah, sure.
I had never
yeah.
seen
That's
that before.
Mhm.
So yeah. Anything else? Zach?
No, that's it.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So
All right, Sean.
my number 6 is. This is where I decide if I switch ones, but
Don't do
I'll
it.
I'll go Vox Lux. Vox Lux
Oh.
is number 6. My 6 through my 2, 6 through 2 are all pretty interchangeable. I'll say that, but Vox Lux, I saw it with Zack, and I didn't really know what to expect going in. There wasn't like any trailers or anything like that. It was more like, oh, Natalie Portman is in a movie where she's a pop star, and I was like, okay, I'll watch that. Like, yeah. So we
Yeah.
Why
we
not?
saw it, and it's so much more than that, and but it's also so much about being a pop star and the pressures put on pop stars and why people are famous, and also people surviving tragedies and people that survive tragedies that are expected to like speak for a generation on them. It's just there's like a line in it where she talks about like why she does pop music, and she's like trying for people to not think, and she says it with such sincerity that she just doesn't want people to have to think, that it like almost makes you cry, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of pain out there and a lot of suffering, and I've been guilty myself of kind of judging others for liking popular music and being a snob asshole, and then you see a movie that just approaches a pop star from a different perspective and basically paints a pop star as like almost a healer in some ways, but then it's also it's healing themselves, and it just, I love the music. The score is staggering. There's beautiful
the score is unbelievable.
cinematography. I watched the whole movie and I didn't even realize that 2 very prominent characters were played by the same actor. It like blew my mind 6 months later. It's like, so it's
Wow.
just like I love big swings. I feel like I was looking at my top 10 and I'm like, I kind of like heavy-handed movies. Some people don't. And this one's definitely heavy-handed, and I don't know. It's just like everyone is swinging really big swings on this movie. So if you respond to it, it's a home run, and if you don't, you're like big whiff, you know. So I don't know. Vox Lux, I will definitely think about this movie in 5 years. So
yeah, absolutely.
Vox
Nice.
Lux,
Gotta
number 6.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I really wanted to see it. It was playing for like another one of those that played for like 2 days in Orlando.
It played for
couldn't
4
make
days in Chicago, in like Chicago proper. Like I was gonna, I had seen it at a festival, so I took my partner Karen. I was like, "You gotta go see this," and she's like, "Well, when's it playing?" And I was like, "It leaves tonight." So we
have to go now.
We abruptly went and saw it. I didn't properly introduce it. It starts with some pretty triggering stuff, and it was like, it's kind of hard to recover from. So if you're going to see a movie about a pop star, just be aware that it's a very upsetting movie. It's probably the most upsetting pop star movie. I haven't seen A Star Is Born, but I'm guessing it's a little bit more upsetting than that one. So
most likely, I'd say.
That hasn't showed up on anyone's list yet.
That's a warning for people that don't expect to see like a lighthearted pop star thing. Not that that's what people are expecting, but it goes even bigger, I'd say. Yeah.
Sounds cool. I'm
absolutely
really interested in it.
Yeah,
I
really
can't
need
wait
to
for
see
come
it
out on DVD so I can see it.
I think it comes out in March, but yeah, I'd say that one, number 6.
It's a killer movie.
Yeah.
It's a long time to wait. Man. Okay. Just gotta be patient.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So my number 6 was I, Tonya.
Ooh.
It's not like technically like this really great or impactful movie, but I just thought it was so much fun. Like I was just laughing the whole time. I really thought the soundtrack was really cool. I mean, Margot Robbie was really great. And then I really loved the character that was her mom, and then the actress who played her so well, and like the weird bird on her shoulder all the time, and just like the way she like fucked over her daughter, and you can kind of see like, okay, like that's why this person's messed up. Like just had this crazy mom. So I honestly just put it on my list because I really loved that mom so much. I was like, oh my God, that would
Allison
be me
Janney
if I was a
killer.
mom. She's so good. She's so good. So
She
yeah,
is
I
really
just had
good
a lot
in
of
it.
fun. Yeah, I just laughed
Ripping
hysterically
cigs.
the whole time.
It's a good movie. I gotta say though, and I might just cut this out. Is it a 2018 movie?
I think
Is it
it
not?
technically is a 2017
Is it
I think
movie.
it's because I
But-
saw it last year.
It's all right
no.
though.
Do I know what year? Clearly, I don't know what year I know.
And I could see
Oh my
Sean
God.
showing Zach the phone. And I didn't.
Oh my God!
I would
And
never
then
say
pictured it.
anything. I would
No.
never say anything.
You're
I saw
right,
you-
it is-
I saw you motion over, and I was like, maybe I should just say this.
I
No,
might
I'm
have
glad
motioned
you-
to
no,
Zach
I'm
and
glad
said
you-
2017.
It's all
I
good.
clearly don't know what year it is. It's a problem. Well, regardless, I liked it so much. I included
Hey,
it in my
nothing
wrong
with that.
It was
That's
on your
fine.
top 10 last year. It's on your top 10 this year.
I think Phantom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if the movie comes out in your city, also it should be that year. Like Phantom Thread, everyone saw that movie in 2018. You know what I mean? But it's
Oh,
a 2017.
yes.
It's
Not me.
True.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that is also on my list.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Oh my god.
Oh, no. Oh, hi, is he your number one?
We'll just roll with it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
It was
You're
literally Zach and I's number one last year.
Really? Oh no! I really fucked this up.
fine. You're all good.
Oh
That's
my God,
amazing.
You're right. It is 2017. I'm out of
No.
my... Okay, well,
It makes for some good podcasting.
Yeah.
screw it. Yeah, I mean, I can't think
Yeah.
of 2 other movies that I liked a lot. So
Yeah, it's all good. Because then it's like you're slipping one in and you don't know if it's like
Yeah.
it should be like a
You're
number
thinking
8
about
or
it.
like.
No,
yeah,
it's all
I
good.
feel like those are weird though because like Sean said, they're like they kind of came out end of the year 17, so they're
Yeah.
kind of like both, you know. It's
I
like,
will
I mean,
say I did see Phantom Thread on a top 10 list of this year.
Was
I
it?
Did you
was it
really?
Cats?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a while
It's
ago.
mine, yeah.
I did. Yeah. You published it beforehand.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
so
honestly,
weird.
that's
okay. Wow.
nothing wrong with
Sorry.
that. I think that there's a weird. There's too much pressure because a lot of times like you can't even see movies. So does that mean you just lose out if you can't even see the movie in the year it came out? Like
yeah.
you're like
Yeah,
under the Silver
yeah.
Lake. Can we? If I watch it this year, can I not even count it? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of all up for interpretation, you know.
Yeah.
Are you just gonna put it on your list
Well,
just because you know you're gonna
Unrelated, my number 5 is The Godfather.
I thought we were just talking about the movies we just happened to see this year.
Yeah.
you know?
That's basically what my list is, I guess.
No, nothing wrong with that.
That's
Yeah,
really
nothing
what
wrong.
it is. Yeah.
That's funny. Oh well.
Cool.
I mean, do you want to change it, or you good? You
No,
want to keep?
I have nothing. I have nothing.
Okay.
No,
You
you're
know
good.
what's funny
You're
too
good.
is Wes, you sent me
Okay.
the episode from last year, and I like listened to it up to a certain point, and I didn't get to the last movie. Right.
the last bit.
I like didn't get to that last bit, and I was like, oh man.
That's
oh
good.
well.
That's great.
Yeah. So, anyways,
All
2018
about it.
list.
All
So,
about
deal with
it.
it.
No, it's totally cool.
Amazing.
Really good.
No, it's so much better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Open it up, you know?
It's
Yeah.
that good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really that good.
Marguerite, number 1.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 6 is Back to the Future. I'm just kidding.
I saw it coming.
Yeah, my number 6 is Mission Impossible Fallout.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Yes, I loved this movie. I saw it twice in IMAX.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one of the best theatrical experiences I've had this year. I think it's one of the best action movies probably ever made. Like in the top 20 at least of best action movies ever created. Mission Impossible Fallout. I'm a pretty big fan of the franchise in general, and I think I know I can definitely accept that a few of them are bad, and I know that they're bad.
Mhm.
But
Whoa,
I
a
think
few?
they get better. Yeah.
What?
Well,
Only-
mainly
oh,
one.
Only 2's bad.
Mainly
The
one.
rest are good.
Okay, yeah.
I'll
That- no,
ride for
that's
them.
That's fair. That's fair.
Two's good. Two's good. Don't care. Two's good. Come on, that was like long-haired Tom Cruise. It was a special
trust me,
His
time.
hair is a feast for thine eyes.
Yeah.
I love it very much, but I don't think it's a good movie. No, but yeah, I think each one gets better and better, and they just push. Like Tom Cruise pushes himself every single time, and I can't not put this on my list for the sheer fact that like he almost died several times making this movie.
Yeah, it's
He like
crazy.
broke his knee, like every
Broke
stunt
his foot
you see.
too, right?
Oh yeah, his foot. That's what I meant. Doing like a jump across buildings. You see the shot where he like
Yeah.
actually
They use
broke
it in the
his
movie,
foot.
right?
They use it. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's insane. He does an actual halo jump, from a plane. It's a real camera shot. It's one take. It's like that kind of filmmaking just like blows my mind. The fact that like they're pushing everything and they're like really doing it,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I find that really entertaining, really thrilling. I loved the movie. I thought the score was awesome too, and I just thought like it was just a really fantastic action film. So,
Nice.
yeah, Mission Impossible Fallout.
Awesome.
Dude has
Play number
charisma.
6. Yeah.
Nice.
He just does.
I missed that one
You
in
know-
the theater, and it really bummed me out.
Oh, it's a good theater.
It was
Yeah.
a good theater movie for sure.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the back-to-back filming of the next two? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did. I'm excited. They're doing in case anyone didn't hear, they're doing back-to-back Mission Impossible movies. What is it? 2020 and 2021.
Mhm.
Summer 2020, summer 2021. Same director too, and
Yeah, Chrissy Q.
I'm all
The
for
Q,
it, man.
baby.
Yeah, that's right. He's good.
Oh, yeah.
So, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Zach,
Moving on to number 5, man.
My number 5 is Paul Schrader's First Reformed, which we talked
Oh,
about.
man.
Not much else to say, but really loved it. Stylistically great. I like what it has to say. I would have liked to rewatch it.
Mm.
I feel like the ending took me off guard a little bit when we saw it in theaters. But I still loved it, and yeah. I feel like you covered most of the ground on it earlier. No, it's fine. I don't have to be sorry. But yeah, it's a
Nice.
banger.
First Reformed.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Good job picking a movie
Alright.
from this year. Good job. Just gonna say it every time. Good job. Yeah, you succeeded. I mean, as long as you've done
Who knows?
that.
Maybe
can't
one of
disagree.
us will also have a blunder, and then it'll be like,
Yeah.
God,
But,
I hope so. Oh,
yeah.
someone else, please.
Sorry. So my number 5, pretty sure it came out in 2018. It was If Beale Street Could Talk.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, Zack already spoke about it. Just I saw this like last weekend, and afterwards, Karen, my partner, and I, we just like went out to like a bar and just like sat there quietly and like processed them. It's a very affecting movie. If I had one word to describe it, it would be sensitive. It's just like a very sensitive movie.
Yeah.
Like people are nice and people are like angry, but like it's always very like sensitively done. People are like very like thoughtful and considerate, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, really responded to it. One thing that but you guys talked about Dave Franco being cast, but like I feel like that movie did it in a really smart way where they cast like too famous of actors for just like random roles of people that you kind of remember or stick with you. So like Dave Franco, to them, stuck with them because he was just like kind, for even though he didn't have to be, so they'll kind of always remember his face. So like to cast someone that's famous, I thought was really smart. Same with Diego Luna. Like this is the first thing I've seen him in
I like
after
that.
Star Wars, and it's like he followed up Star Wars with being like guy that works at restaurant. You know what I mean?
He's
Like,
so
totally.
yeah.
he's so recognizable after that Star Wars role, but like
Yeah.
it still kind of fits, you know.
Yeah, and he's just like someone that's nice to them and like a friendly face. I feel like is why I don't know why they casted those people, but I feel like they cast them to be friendly faces where it's like people see Dave Franco, they're like, "Oh, I like that guy." Or they see Diego Luna and it's like, "Oh, he's great." Like so it just that was a really smart way of doing it, to take a best picture win and to kind of flex by getting big actors for tiny roles. I just thought it was like really cool the way it was done. So yeah, I don't have much else to say. Just If Beale Street Could Talk. Nice.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Man, spoiler alert, it didn't make my list, but you're really making me regret not putting it on my list.
That's funny.
It was a really good movie, and now I really kind of regret it's not on my top 10. But
that's the cool thing about top 10s, and I know Wes actually.
Yeah.
You did that with I think Silence, where you like updated your list. Like
yeah, I did
Yeah.
it later.
yeah, like I think that there's so much pressure to get it perfect for the year end, but then a year later or 2 years later, like
see what like really actually sticks
yeah,
with
like
you.
you see what sticks with you or what fades away, and it's like
Yeah,
it's cool. That's why it's kind of cool to have a document of it, you know?
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great movie. It's a
Mhm.
really good movie.
Did you guys like it more? Did everyone see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just curious if people liked it more or less than Moonlight, because I feel like
I
it's
liked it more than
50-50. I
Moonlight.
liked it more,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like
I think I did too.
Yeah.
I think I did too. Yeah.
Cool. I was just
I mean,
curious.
Moonlight's great.
Was it the
'cause it's
same
just-
director or?
It's the same
Mhm.
director, yeah.
Same
Barry
director.
Jenkins.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
liked
it's-
Moonlight a lot.
Yeah.
The
So-
Moonlight's great.
Cool.
Yeah. I just want to say, because we probably won't talk about it again, is I was blown away by the performances too of
Yeah.
the two leads.
Absolutely.
I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
the main actress was like
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
like,
she's
so
incredible.
Her
he's
face
incredible.
was so good.
And
Mhm.
the main actor too he's so good.
Mhm.
Also,
It had just like a really good feel to it.
I agree.
Yeah,
It just had
yeah.
like a
very
yeah.
solid vibe.
and it was like it was romantic, and it was but it was also like really heartbreaking too. You
Yeah.
know, like I was so happy for them, but I also like wanted to cry. You know,
Yeah. Totally.
At one point, the main female, she says like, "I hope that no one ever has to see a loved one behind a piece of glass."
yeah,
And it's just like the
Right.
way that she says it's like very simple. It's someone that it's just very truthful. It's like
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
to her is like when you see someone through a piece of glass, that's not how I would describe it, but it's like
right.
it's because I've never seen it. I never had that reaction. It just felt like someone that actually experienced that, and like it's just those kind of
resonates.
lines. They stick with me. Yeah. Cool.
Good stuff. Okay, Kat, number 5.
I'm terrified. Okay, this one I'm like pretty sure came out in 2018. Pretty sure. It's The Favorite.
Nice.
I really like this director. I really like the lobster.
Oh yeah, love the
yeah.
lobster.
Yeah.
I thought this was a cool like pivot for him. And then Olivia Colman was so good.
So
just being
good.
just so deranged, and like you could see this like woman who's experienced a lot of tragedy, but she's like also has like all this power, and she's like working through her tragedy by like just fucking with other people, and yeah, like she's you know, like you sympathize with her, but you're like, wow, she's kind of sick, like my god. It was great. I mean, everyone did a good job. There was some weird shots though, like through a fisheye lens that I thought was really strange and like took me out of it. I was like, what are we like in a like a skater like movie or like get out there with your skateboard and do the fisheye lens? Like I don't know. I was like, I just thought that was a weird choice. It was a little distracting and it would like kind of take you out of the scene, but they were very brief. Like they would always just be like a panning shot of like someone leaving the movie, and you're like the room, and you're like, okay, that was weird. But besides that, I thought it was nearly perfect. So I really liked it a lot.
I think a fantastic script. You know, it has like the dialogue is so just like so like tasty. You know, just like every little morsel of dialogue is just like
tasty dialogue.
What are they gonna say next? You know, it's just like the dialogue is great, and I've heard that complaint about the fisheye lens too.
It's weird.
I actually really liked it. I don't know, like it didn't throw me out of it. I liked it. I felt maybe because I expected it going in, but I did really enjoy it, and I sort of felt like because the whole idea is like they're like closed off from the rest of the world, right? They're sheltered in their own little world, and showing the wide angle lens sort of it shows the ceiling, it shows like the room they're in, and it felt like more encasing. It like felt like more I think that was kind of the intent maybe, but I felt like it was more trapped, like they're more cut off from the rest of the world in that sense. That's how I took it.
That's a cool justification for it. Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
So I don't know, I kind of liked it because of that, but yeah, good pick.
Yeah, totally. Yorgos, guy's a champ.
So my number 5 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Nice.
This movie I thought was just so entertaining, and
Nice.
I went into it thinking like, oh yeah, you know, it's whatever. It's an animated Spider-Man movie, be fun, whatever. I walked out like, I want to go back in. I just want to like walk right back, turn around, and watch it again because the animation was so unique and just so well done. And I honestly think it's like a milestone in modern animation.
It had cool
it
style,
is.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I'd agree with that.
It is because you have the Pixar animation style works, but it's been a thing for so long now, you know, and
Saturated.
it is. Everyone sort of started doing the same thing. It like really became in the mainstream with like Shrek, you know?
Yeah.
And like ever since then, it hasn't changed, like really at all. Just improved the quality of that type. And this like took like a comic book, took like the basics of a comic book and like made it into a movie in the most just perfect translation of that, in my opinion. Like comic book to film, the perfect translation of a comic book movie. I also think it's like one of the best superhero movies ever made and the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm a big Spider-Man guy. If you've listened to the podcast before, you know I've like read comics and stuff. So I feel like I have a good sense on the character, and it just feels like the perfect version of that character.
It's so fun.
It's so fun, and there's jokes, there's action, there's humor, there's a lot of heart, And I just thought it was just really well done. I couldn't believe it. And another thing too, like one of my favorite parts of it is fantastic editing. The editing and the pacing of the story
So lightning
is just
fast.
spot on. It's fast, and the cuts are just like a comic book. And when, like, not to spoil it, but when Miles Morales, the main character, like finally gets his suit, that moment in the movie like gave me goosebumps. It was just perfectly set up and paced with the music and the timing, and then it goes into this great scene, and I don't know, it's fantastic. So I had to put it on my list, and it's definitely one of my favorites this year. Just I loved it. So
Yeah.
It's is it a I didn't see it, but it's like it's like a 3D animated movie, but they did like 2D like textures on it. Is that correct?
it's
Like
like
it kind of looks
everything.
2D.
correct. It's like they took like a 3D models, but they gave it like a weird frame rate. So it's almost like 15 frames. So it's like almost like
interesting.
the idea is like you're flipping through pages, you know?
That's
you're flipping
really
through
cool.
pages,
Yeah.
and there's like even little like comic book blurbs that pop up, and like when there's like a sound effect, the sound, you see the word, you know, like very comic booky.
Yeah.
But it's just done in such a smart way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like the shadows being like the print, the print texture and stuff like that.
It looks like ink dots almost. Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
detailed.
I love that style. Yeah. I've seen
so many good
really
ideas. So many good
There's
ideas.
been some video games that have done it recently. Like it's it's like 3D, but they're like 2D textures,
like
and
the
it's just
cel
it looks so
Right.
cool. Like there's something
Exactly.
weird about it. You're like I can't like put my finger exactly on it, but like something like crazy is going on here, and it's a cool style that's been developed. I like it a lot.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Killer movie.
Cool. Yeah. Can't wait to watch it again. If you haven't seen it, Kat, you gotta watch it. It's great.
I will.
Yeah,
It's
It
not.
looks
It's
fun.
not on my list. It probably would have been like number 11, but I would say that I don't really like comic book movies that much. I like them enough, but then I kind of forget about them or whatever, or I don't see them and I'll watch them later, and it's like maybe I should have seen this in the theater. But Spider-Man, it's like I think I did the numbers. It's the 27th Spider-Man movie in the last 3 years, and it is
Holy shit.
so good. It is just it's so good.
good.
It's so good. It's so like I kind of was like not expecting to like it, and I loved it. Like and
you
then
walked out blown away, right?
yeah, it talks about, and it's like all about how there's way too many Spider-Man movies. It's like kind of half the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
it's not just that. Yeah, it feels like they had just like 100 good ideas and then executed all of them really well. Like if they were sitting around in a room, they're like, what if we did this? And what if we did this? And everyone was like, yeah. And then they did all of them, and they did all of them really well. So like, even if you don't like superhero movies, but like you've read a comic book, or you maybe you like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, but you didn't like the Andrew Garfield or the Tom Hiddleston or the whatever other ones. Like, it's just I think anyone could like it. Like, it's got like a very watchable soundtrack, and it's just great
soundtrack.
It's like just so many good ideas. Like the villain is just so big, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely comical.
Yeah, it's just such a good movie.
Yeah.
Such a good
like
movie.
on paper, like the movie should not work. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like how did they take this idea of like interdimensional characters and travel like through different dimensions and make it work? And it just does in like the best possible way.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's crazy.
It's real pumped for that 4K.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that thing.
Looks, and
Oh yeah,
I would be
totally good.
happy to see that movie in 4K.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
Hell yeah.
treat. Cool.
Yeah,
Great pick.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Before we get to my number 4 pick, Sean,
Oh.
I got to discuss a special deal from our sponsor again. For the listeners of the Listen to This Rant About Movies podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day free trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service.
Whoa.
pretty unbelievable, right?
It's amazing.
It's like you weren't paying attention earlier, and now it's like I reminded you.
People need to act on this now.
Yeah, I know, right?
What is?
I know.
How do they get there?
To download your free audiobook, you got to go to audibletrial.com/LTURAM.
Wait, can you repeat that so
Yeah.
I know where to go?
Once more, that's audibletrial.com/LTURAM for your free audiobook.
Oh my god.
Sean, what are you going to download, dude?
Probably the Bible.
You could probably do that. I don't know.
Does Morgan Freeman read the Bible on Audible? Because that
I
would be
hope
good.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The only thing that would make me happier than downloading a free book for 30 days would be to hear Zach's number 4.
My number 4 is Spike Lee's Black Klansman.
Whoa.
Oh.
Great movie. Very effective. Total gut punch of an ending. Great performances. Really fun. Really good score. Very watchable. Says a lot. I don't know. It's the way that they balance the humor, I think, is really impactful. I don't know what else to say. It's a fucking banger, man.
Great movie.
Thing is a fucking banger. Spike Lee's a champ, and yeah, Black Klansman.
Nice. Is that
It's a
it?
definite highlight of the year for sure.
Oh yeah. I guess to change things up, my number 4 would be Spike Lee's Black Klansman. And yeah, I would say,
I knew it.
as I said earlier, I love a big swing. This is a very like abrasive, loud movie that says a lot of things that I think a lot of movies, even when they handle it, are afraid to say it fully committally. And
Totally.
I think it really doesn't back down. And I love Spike Lee. Definitely. I've watched all his movies. Look forward to anything that he has, like whenever it is, even if it's him filming like a play that he puts on Amazon. I just love what he kind of singles out, and this was a really effective thriller. I always like what he has to say, and I think this movie really hit a nerve in how he said it. Also resonated with a lot of people, and that it was like actually not just had a lot to say and a lot on its mind, but it's like a very good thriller, and there's like chase scenes and espionage and just really good performances.
It also harkens back to a lot of tropes of like things in the style, but also feels very new at the same time.
Yeah, I always love 70s cop movies. So to be like a 70s cop movie, but then have like a really modern spin on it, and just a killer guitar shred and score. It just very very watchable. But then kind of has a gut punch ending that just, it's like, look, we had fun here, but
like don't forget what the hell we're talking
takeaways,
about.
like there's a lot of important things we're talking
sure.
about. So really cool movie, and glad to have Spike Lee crushing it on a large. I feel like no one watched his TV show last year. I love that as well.
Yeah, it was incredible.
But like to have him get like a big response is always just really exciting, because I feel like he always has a lot to say, and people don't always listen, so it's always cool when like it gets a big response.
Totally.
Yeah, Spike Lee. Hey, Spike Lee, keep up the good work, man.
The Old Boy remake was bad, and then he stole from that one artist who made the posters.
The Old Boy movie is terrible.
Yeah.
It's not good. And then there was like a artist who made a bunch of posters from the movie, and he never like paid him for it. It's like kind of sad.
Nice.
I was like damn, Spike Lee, like come on, like you should know better. Like I don't know.
I haven't heard about this, but that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I think the movie's like under 2 hours. He claims that there's a 3.5 hour cut that's way better. And as a big Spike Lee fan, I'm like, I didn't like that movie at all. Let me watch twice this long. Yeah.
Well, it never see the light of day. We don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a masterpiece. We just haven't seen it yet. You know.
We don't. Yeah. We just don't know. It hasn't been fully actualized yet.
If there's anything we need, it's an Old Boy remake. I think we can all agree.
It's the one thing.
What am I gonna read a movie? Get that out of here. All right. Cool.
Nice. I just want to say one more thing about Black Klansman was I thought Adam Driver was awesome in it.
Oh yeah, he's super good.
And yeah, the score was killer, and it went in directions like I totally didn't expect. Totally didn't expect. And it was a movie I wasn't as hot on as you guys, but it's one that like kind of grew on me as time passed. You know what I mean? Like, as time passed, I was like, you know what? That movie was fucking good. It was good, you know?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know. It grew on me as time passed, and I definitely want to rewatch it.
So a little hot tip, Wes. It is $11.99 on Amazon on 4K right now. So just be aware. Just be aware.
12 American dollars to own Zack Harris's number 4 of the year, Black Klansman.
And your number 4 of the year.
Hey, people don't listen to this cast for my takes, okay? Cool.
That 4K is a pretty good deal right there.
It's a banger 4K, man. Looks primo.
What would you give that transfer out of 5?
I'd give it a 5.
Wow. You heard it here.
You heard it here first.
Maybe a 4.5, you know.
All right, Kat, you're number 4.
I'm gonna pass.
Are you?
It's a 2017 movie.
Wait, what is it?
Is it Phantom Thread?
It's Phantom Thread.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
So
well, let's
good.
talk about it.
Okay.
Let's hear
Did
some
you guys talk about it
thoughts.
last year?
Let's hear your thoughts.
Okay. I mean, I really like Paul Thomas Anderson. I'll pretty much watch anything he does. I thought it was very watchable as opposed to The Master, which I thought was technically good, but like it was like painful almost to watch at points. So it was like very refreshing. And then he kind of like came back with Inherent Vice as well, but it was like very refreshing to be like, oh, like this is so much more watchable than that one. And then that sounds terrible. I did enjoy it, but I was also in pain the whole time. It was so long. I saw it in theater and I was like, oh my god, get out of here.
It is very long.
So long. And like everyone's so good, but and anyways, yeah, that one was painful. I like that he's like kind of pivoted away from that style, and it was a good character study of an eccentric person and what it's like to live and like be around an eccentric person and like in their world. So I liked it. It was a 2017. Liked it so much. Brought it back.
It's all good.
It's all good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No worries. Yeah. Like I said before, it was my number 1 of 2017. So I fucking love the movie, and I think it's a masterpiece, and it's my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Bold claim.
It's my favorite.
More than
I
Boogie
love the
Hot
hot take.
take.
Yeah,
I love it.
more
Guys.
than Boogie Nights. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, it's amazing to me, and I rewatched it. I have it on 4K. Looks so good.
So beautiful.
That 4K sings.
Oh, so good. I don't know. I get sucked into that movie and just like want to.
Well,
live in
it should
It's
like
just
be boring,
perfect.
right? Like you read the description of it and
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
would
this has
think.
got to be so boring. And then you're watching it and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, like I love it. Like I want to just be inside this movie all day.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, anyways, it's a good one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Good pick. Okay, my number 4 is Hereditary.
Yay,
Nice.
it's back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's back. You guys talked about it a little bit, but yeah, it's a horror movie that, for one, it's hard to scare me nowadays. Like I can't
jaded.
find a movie. I'm searching for a horror movie that like can scare me, and I walked out of this one honestly thinking like, it wasn't that scary, until I couldn't sleep that night.
Oh,
It totally creeps.
I got like maybe 2-3 hours of sleep. Could not
Feel
sleep.
you.
Could not get the images out of my head. Just like, like looking around, like
staring in like a dark corner, waiting for it to
Yeah.
like slowly expose. It's like, what's
Is
going
that
on
a
in that
person?
corner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like about to doze off, and then I thought I heard like that
Oh,
sound.
yeah.
Sound.
Oh yeah. That's a great.
Such an
little moment.
effective use of like,
Oh yeah.
It is
like a sound thing to like mess with you, and you like hear it everywhere, and you're like, she's around.
Yeah, and the ending, it's not. I don't think it's like a very satisfactory ending, but it's one that was like, okay, you're like,
All right.
okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the way it ends. It does like explain it, and yeah, I guess you could riff on like the fact that like goes back and forth between like supernatural and like having this realistic cult element to it. And I don't think it's very focused on that. Like, it does need improvement in that. It should have picked one or the other, I think. But it was still a very scary movie, and one that like had a real effect on me, and I thought about it all year long. So and I think slow burn horror is like the scariest horror to me.
Oh yeah,
It's the wave of the future.
It's terrifying, and it reminded me a lot of The Witch, which had that same kind of like slow burn kind of horror to it, and that's my favorite. So yep,
Witch is killer.
Hereditary.
Yeah,
it is killer.
Yeah,
it's Hereditary was also, it was a great rewatch because there were things that I didn't catch in the theater that like I noticed on the second time, or that other people had caught, and I was like, wait, what? And then I went and watched it again. I was like, oh shit, like I didn't know that was in there.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it.
Yeah,
you were a little less in on it than I was, but then you rewatched it and you were like,
yeah, it's a bang.
Yeah, I gotta see
great-
it
great
again.
one.
I only saw it in theaters. But...
Also,
and it was like funny too. There was like
It's
funny,
funny, yeah.
like moments, and
It's
you're like,
clever.
this
It's
is
cool.
hilarious. Yeah.
It's emotional too, which it's not just
Yeah.
scary. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. If I could do a number 11, it would be Hereditary.
There's so many 11s.
Yeah.
There's always next year. You know, you can include it on next year if you want. Just saying. Bend the rules.
If you have second thoughts or regrets, you can just put it on next year's list.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that is another movie I have on 4K that looks.
Oh yeah,
Just
nice.
divine.
I bet.
Nah, it looks
All those
so good.
like weird wide shots that are like
Mm-hmm.
look like miniatures. That's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love the dioramas.
Speaking
Good
of
stuff.
number 3, Zach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my number 3 is Vox Lux.
Oh.
Oh.
Really liked this movie a lot. Really stuck with me and couldn't stop thinking about it. Was not what I was expecting at all. But then again, I don't really know what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely wasn't that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it ended and the credits are silent. And everyone in the theater was just silent. And like we saw it together, and then we were walking and we were just like, saw it downtown and we're leaving. Like, that was like really incredible, right? You know what I mean? It's just like silently leaving. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that movie was like really amazing. You know, I don't know. It's just it's really affecting, interesting, technically really good, visually great, score is amazing. The pop songs are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Not a ton else to say, but
Do you know who
Nice.
directed that? Was it someone
It's,
like big name?
So his name is Brady Corbett, and he directed a movie called Childhood of a Leader. That's about another comedy about young Hitler. It's a very very serious movie, and
Really light, yeah.
so I feel like he was a big indie star in Europe, but the big movie people recognize him from is when they remade the movie Funny Games with Naomi Watts.
Yes, okay, I remember that.
He plays one of the killers in white. It's Michael
Oh.
Pitt and then him. So he was an actor that then got into directing. And Childhood of a Leader I watched, and I liked it. But then Vox Lux...
post Vox Lux.
Pre.
Okay.
So Vox Lux is the second movie, and I think it's a definite step up. And yeah.
Like you watched it
Oh,
pre?
shit.
I'd watch
he,
it pre.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was asking.
I didn't realize it was the same guy who made Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene.
I think he produced that, but I could be wrong. He's part of
Oh,
that. So there's like...
Oh,
There's
was
like
okay.
a
Yeah, I
collective
remember
of
liking that.
people in
I thought that was
New
decent.
York that do a bunch of... There's like Simon Killer. They do a lot of like... It's like Christopher Abbott's. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But
Oh yeah, it looks like he.
yeah.
Name
It
drop.
does look like he produced that movie.
Yeah,
he didn't
so
direct
these-
it.
He also played Jack Bauer's son at some point in the television series
Whoa.
24. So I'm
That's
really like he's already got cred.
This
I mean, right
fucker's
there,
got
that's all I need to
range
know.
right there.
Yeah.
Played Jack Bauer's. Oh no, his daughter's new girlfriend. I'm sorry.
He was in 24, nonetheless.
He was in 24 somehow.
Well, that's amazing.
Nice.
I mean, you don't really get better than 24, but Vox Lux was a good try. So Cool.
Nice.
Speaking of 24 and Jack Bauer, my number 3 of the year was Hirokazu Koreeda's Shoplifters.
Nice.
This is one of my favorite directors. I feel like he's always around on the festival circuit, especially since I've been going to film festivals. He comes out with about a movie a year, and After the Storm was one that Zack and I both talked about in year-end lists in the past, and this movie he got a lot more exposure because he won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and so it got a much bigger release. And to me, all his movies just feel like impossibly researched. Totally. That they always feel like so real and about this subsection of people that as someone that grew up in America and hasn't had much international travel experience, I always enjoy watching like different cultures, and he makes these like methodically detailed cultural studies about Japan, which is a country that I am very fascinated with. So, and they're also just beautiful and quiet and emotional. Like, if you want to have a nice Sunday where you stay in and watch a beautiful movie that makes you appreciate your family for all of their positives as well as their negatives, their imperfections. It's just a beautiful filmmaker, and totally. This movie is about a group of like a family that is taught different techniques of shoplifting, and they kind of steal, and they're squatting in an apartment. But as it unfolds, there's revelations. It's so quiet that there's revelations that happen with like 20 minutes left that are M. Night Shyamalan level twists.
Yeah, they just like change your perception of everything that's happened in the movie.
Yeah, like I think it's hard to describe, but it's just crazy twists that you assume things because of how families are, that this person and this person are this or that, and it doesn't matter because it kind of is like, what is a family besides a group of people that would do anything for each other? So it's a really beautiful movie. I don't want to talk about it too much because it might be on someone else's list.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I think I saw a lot of these movies this year. I saw with Zack and my fiance Karen, and we like left the theater. I can think of this at least 2 or 3 times where we left the theater and we're like, didn't have anything to say to each other. It's just beautiful.
It's just like, we all.
Yeah.
It's just
so.
Yeah,
I think Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I had a question about. I haven't seen it, but like, is the family that's in it, are they portrayed as people who are shoplifting like to make a living, to get by, or are they like shoplifters in the sense that they're like addicted to shoplifting?
So it's I don't want to go too much into it because if anyone sees it, then I think that, but I would say it's a bit of both, where they're definitely a poor family, but they
lower income, just getting by.
They also seem to enjoy, or some of them seem to kind of enjoy it, or sometimes a father appreciates passing down a skill to their child, and for this father, maybe his skill is shoplifting. So it's like an interesting thing, and it's very emotional, and I'd recommend, if anyone likes kind of quiet dramas that are about people that you would never interact with, but you feel like you know someone based on watching it, then check out Shoplifters.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was texting Zack like several times, like leading up to this top 10, like, want to see Shoplifters.
Yeah. It's like, you got to, man. Is it playing? Where's it playing in there? I literally was like looking it up in Florida. I'm like, where's it playing in Florida?
It's not anywhere, and it comes out like I'll be like able to rent it like 2 weeks from now.
Oh, so that's so annoying!
Man,
you're so
close.
Like, damn,
there's no way. So yeah. Really want to check it out though. Heard a lot of good things about it.
Absolutely. Cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Kat, you're number 3.
My number 3. Okay, I mean, it's been mentioned a lot of times, but it's also just Hereditary. I just really like it. I'm a sucker for horror movies. I can't help it. And I mean, like Wes said, like, it actually did scare me, which I feel like I'm very desensitized. So a lot of the time I can enjoy like a horror movie, but it doesn't really scare me, but it actually scared me. And I just thought it was really different, and and like it was just terrifying. It was shocking. Like you're just shocked the
Totally.
entire time, and
Yeah.
it's so brutal. And I don't know, maybe because I was raised in a very religious family. Like there's some part of me that's still very freaked out by the occult.
Sure.
So I think it kind of like tapped into that for me, and it just really like freaked me out. So I don't know. It really scared me. I couldn't not put it up pretty high because I was like Wes. I mean, I only slept like a few hours that night, and yeah, it was a lot of peeking in the corner. I was like, "What's in the ceiling? Like, what's underneath my covers?"
Yeah.
yeah. It was great.
Yeah, I think like I got up in the middle of the night because I couldn't sleep, but I was like, I gotta like pee real quick. Went to the bathroom. I'm like,
Open the shower.
I'm like,
who's in there?
Yeah.
like I'm like literally because I'm standing up and I'm like leaning against like the bathroom wall, but like so I make sure I see everything. And like the curtain to the like shower curtain's open. I'm like, look,
That's great.
terrified.
Doors and corners. Gotta check your
Amazing.
doors and corners.
Yeah. Nice, good pick. Okay, so my number 3 is Annihilation.
Nice.
Yay!
Yeah, I know that this movie is not perfect, but the ending to this film just like raises it 10 bars to me, like
Totally.
if it wasn't for the ending, it would be like in my honorable mentions. But the ending makes it like my
It
number
was
3.
really strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you talking about in the lighthouse?
Yeah, in
Okay.
the
Yeah,
lighthouse.
yeah.
The sound is so
It's just like
good
One of
during
the
that.
scenes of the year. That scene is crazy.
It's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing.
You're so uncomfortable. Like you just feel so
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's really effective that way.
It feels like that same kind of like deep, like under the skin, like haunting feeling you get almost like for like 2001. Like it's like it's sort of like that under the skin, just
Yeah.
like really uncomfortable, like uneasy, like holy fucking shit, like if aliens actually landed here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, totally.
it really makes you like think about that, like the concept of aliens. Like I don't know, it made me think all this crazy existential stuff, but I think it's like just because of that, one of the best sci-fi movies in years. And I loved it so much, I immediately went out and bought the book, and I read it in like a matter of days.
Oh yeah, is it good?
Yeah, it's a good book.
It's a good book, but it's completely different than the movie.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
its own
say.
thing.
And there's pros and cons to that. I like the book, but I think I like the movie better.
Nice.
I think it's whatever you do first, usually, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're
that's
always
how
like, what?
usually goes.
Yeah. You're like, oh, but like that's familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love what they did with the book too, but it's just completely different.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Annihilation.
Awesome
Loved it.
pick.
Here.
Yeah, it's a
Very good
banger.
movie.
Cool.
Also
Cool. All right, we're-
the bear scene.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Bear scene's killer.
it's creepy.
It's creepy.
Just like the whole concept too of like this, like the what is it called?
The shimmer.
The shimmer.
Yeah.
The shimmer.
The shimmer.
The shimmer.
It's changing. It literally is like creating. It's like making life forms like blend.
Yeah.
It's like
what that can
cancer.
Like what that
Yeah.
can create. Like
Oh yeah.
oh, it's freaky.
It's good biz.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
Definitely
it's just a cool concept.
Oh yeah. Also the shimmer looks cool. That it's like kind of like
Yeah.
what you see with like bubbles before they pop, like you always see that and look at it, you're like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen that in a movie.
Yeah.
Like such a good use of that thing that everyone knows what it looks like,
Mhm.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Good pick.
All right, cool. We're
All
down
right.
to the nitty gritty, guys.
Mine-
Number
I had-
2.
Zack
Mine
and
I have a
Zack.
feeling we're all gonna be like the same number one. I don't know. It's just a guess. It
I'm
it
gonna
hasn't
say
been
no.
mentioned
I think
yet.
Sean's
We'll
got a
see.
different
We'll
number
see.
one. I got him pegged.
Oh,
but we'll
okay.
see.
Okay.
My number 2 is Shoplifters.
Okay. Yeah.
I love this movie. I love this filmmaker. Very understated and makes things that feel very real. And I think sometimes like it being so understated, some people can't connect or like think of it as, just kind of whatever. But I think there's real talent in being able to make something that feels so natural and mundane in a way, but there's so much behind it. There's some moments in Shoplifters that are just crafted so well that I was I don't know, super impressed by it. The way that they, like you were talking about, dole out information at the end in this like casual way, but then it changes everything that you thought about these people, and you're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, but it's almost like there and gone, and it's not referenced again, and you're trying to like figure it out. And I don't know, I was not expecting that ending aspect to it at all going into the movie, but it's really interesting, and it's also just you know, very effective. Definitely cried a bunch during it. And...
yeah, it was really embarrassing. I saw Zack. He was.
yeah, I don't know.
No, I was crying as well. Yeah, so
it's super good.
It's okay to cry. Let it out.
A family, and I don't know.
Let it out.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing movie.
Nice. Yeah, can't wait to see it.
Yeah, you guys are making me really want to see that movie.
It
sounds really good. Yeah.
Koreeda, he's the
champion.
He literally is a champ.
The greatest.
All right, Sean.
All right, Sean.
So my number two.
Number two.
I won't talk about it too much because it might be coming back for several people. It would be Alfonso Cuarón's Roma, and one thing I'll say about it is that I think it's really cool that a movie like this is actually on Netflix. I know a lot of people have been like, you got to see it in the theater.
For sure.
I saw it in the theater, so if you can see it in the theater, yeah. But when I was like 15 and 16 and like really slamming movies really hard, like really had a big thirst for like getting into movies and wanted to go to film school, it was not easy for me to see art films and foreign films. I'd have to go to the library and rent them out on DVD, and they'd be like old transfers with bad subtitles.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that like anyone that has an internet connection can watch this beautiful HD
4K sometimes.
4K, yeah. Like movie that
4K,
is
buddy.
capturing
4K.
a really special moment. You know, it's just I think it's that the fact that anyone has access to this, that I feel is an important movie, I think is really special, and it should be celebrated. That this is I thought this movie was like a gateway movie where if I was 15 and saw this movie, I'd be like, how did they do that? And I'd want to like, it would be like I'd research Alfonso Cuarón, and like, because when I saw Children of Men, it was around the same time in high school, and I was like, how the fuck did that guy do that? Like, I was like, you can make movies like this?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
and then 10 years
Yeah.
later, he like makes something entirely in Spanish in different dialects of Mexican dialects, and it's like this huge talk. You know, it's so cool. And this is also my favorite movie where there's a naked man doing bow staff exercises.
Total highlight right
Total
there.
highlight,
It's
yeah.
so good.
So yeah, Roma. I'm sure people will talk more about the movie itself. I just wanted to say, it being on Netflix, I think is actually really cool for young, inspired filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, man.
Nice.
It's really cool. Great pick. Okay, Kat.
What are we on number? Am I on number 2?
Yep.
You're on number 2.
Okay. Oh, okay. My number 2 is Isle of Dogs.
Nice.
It was just so wholesome. It's just so wholesome.
Yeah.
It's just such a good family movie. I mean, yeah. We talked about it. Was it on everyone's? Right? It was on everyone's.
It was my number
at some
11.
point. So many
Right.
share that title. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we talked about it, but it's just it's a very nice, heartwarming movie, even though sometimes it's like kind of weirdly like graphic, like
Yeah.
Totally.
people are being impaled with things, and it's like, yeah, I guess this is a kid's movie, but it's also very adult. Like I feel like you could like take your like 14-year-old to it and then also be very entertained. So yeah, it was just nice. It was nice. Controversy aside, anything Wes Anderson does is going to be very meticulous and clean and beautiful, and yeah, there's no exception. Liked it a lot.
Yeah, great pick. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, my number 2 is First Reformed.
Nice.
Wow, that high.
Yep. Cat, I know.
Dude, killer
You're not
movie. Killer movie.
This was my number one for like 90% of the year. After I saw it, it was like my number one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it just like I saw it immediately. I was just like, that's 5 stars to me. Like I just like from the first shot, I was just like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved how it played with the 4:3 aspect ratio. I loved like Ethan Hawke. I think it's like his best performance of his career.
Super good in it.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like most of the time he's like kind of self-aware that he's an actor.
Totally
He's like,
agree.
I'm acting, and I love a lot of movies he's in. Boyhood,
Mm-hmm.
the Before trilogy, whatever. But I feel like he was really acting in this movie, and like he was this character, and I don't know, it just like I was on the edge of my seat for most of the movie. Didn't see the environmental thing coming at all. Walking into the theater, I didn't like know that would happen, but I was like, okay, this is kind of how I feel now, like nowadays. Like in that way, like it felt very much ingrained in 2018. Like it feels of its time, and I was for it. Yeah, I was like shoving it down my throat a little bit, but I was like, I'm taking it.
Yeah,
like,
You loved it.
Yeah.
You loved
Go
it.
for it.
like I want more. Like I understand. Yeah,
Sure, man. Eat it up.
And I feel like the ending. Paul Schrader even said this himself. Like the ending's very much it's up for interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly clear, and it is sort of like I just like when the ending happened, I was in the theater and I was just like sat there for a long time, and there was a guy next to me, a stranger. I didn't even know him. I went by myself, and the guy next to me like looked over at me and was like, well, that was weird.
You're like, thanks,
And I was
guy.
like-
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, and he walked out, and I like sort of thought that I was like, that was weird,
Yeah.
but I couldn't stop thinking about it. After
Weird is
that.
good.
absolutely.
Weird is good.
Yeah, and I don't know. It really struck the chord for me,
Awesome.
and it just like hit my sensibilities in the perfect way, and yeah, I just loved it.
Sweet.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's a fucking banger, bud.
Schrader up.
Schrader up.
I'm so glad that Schrader came back.
Yeah. The big
It's like
career
that
guy.
resurgence for him, too.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing people
Yeah.
talked about that he did was the Canyons with Lindsay Lohan. Like,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, come on, Schrader.
and that was like
I
2
wonder-
movies previous. Like,
yeah.
I wonder if like that is gonna be a thing though, like going forward. Like, do you think there's gonna be like large swaths of people who like don't want to have kids because they're afraid of the for the environment?
I
Like,
think-
I don't know.
I
Like,
think
do you
that-
feel like it's
I
happening?
think so.
Yeah.
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 No, I think it already exists, and I think it's going to be more prevalent. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary.
It is scary. I mean, I'm scared for myself, and I'm like, okay, well, like maybe I'll like be dead by the time it gets really, really bad.
Yeah, so yeah.
I'm hoping I can be dead, or be in a
You're
robot
hoping
body.
you can be dead.
I
I just
or
hope
in a
I'm
robot
dead.
body.
Number
I hope I'm
2.
dead for that. But no, I mean, but then like I think about like I don't know, my niece is 6, and I'm like, oh my god, like she's definitely gonna have to deal with this for sure.
Oh,
Her
yeah.
generation's gonna
Crazy.
have to do it, and yeah, I don't know. It's something you think about a little bit. for
Yeah.
sure. So it was interesting to have someone bring it up in a movie. I don't know if I've seen them
Yeah.
brought up that specific topic in a movie before.
It's cool.
Yeah,
was cool.
exactly. For sure. Yeah, it's an odd time we live in now, I think.
Crazy times.
It's a
Future.
crazy times. All right, so this is it. This is it,
Yeah,
guys.
the number
one.
one.
We're at the final. Number 1.
Big fucking surprise. My number one's Roma.
No.
Thing is so good. I was totally blown away when we went and saw it. I don't know, somewhat transcends just being a movie.
Mhm.
It just like felt so real the whole time. And then when you think about it as a movie, it's just mind-blowing, and I have no idea how they made it. It's just like, how did you stage? Every shot has so much going on. It's so long. You're not concerned with the style, but it's also so present in it. And I don't know. I was just like extremely impressed by it and extremely affected by it. I think I cried the last like whole hour of the movie, and
I cried.
I don't know. It everything about it is just like tip top aces. It's a fucking
Quite an
amazing
achievement.
movie. Yeah, I think achievement is a great word for it. Like, holy shit, what an achievement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great word for it. Yeah. Feel like we might hear more about it later. I don't know.
No,
We'll see.
I don't
Who's
think
to
so.
say?
Yeah,
Who's to say?
we'll
you
see.
know?
We'll say. Who's to say? Who's to say?
Yeah.
But we might have a little break in that with Sean.
Okay, yeah. My number one is not Roma again, unfortunately. But yeah, so my number one is a movie called Birds of Passage, which is a movie I saw at a film festival in October. And it's going to come out in the United States like wider in February. So if people think it sounds cool, they should check it out. But I was supposed to see this movie with Zack, but he couldn't make it. So then I literally was like trying to get other people to come see it. And then I was like, should I even go see it? Because it was like an hour away. But then Zack gave me his ticket to give to someone else. So I was like, I have 2 tickets to this movie. I should go.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll go. And it just, I was by myself. I was kind of in like a bad mood. I was like, because people were going to come and then they didn't. It was like, okay, well, like, just like, you're just like heads. And then all of a sudden this movie started and I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, it just, so it's directed by a husband and wife who subsequently gotten divorced from the movie.
Oh man.
Oh
But,
no, that's sad.
I believe it's unrelated to the
sucks.
movie. They both still go to festival screenings about the movie, so I think they just I don't know what happened, but that's a separate thing. But
they did Embrace the
so yeah,
Serpent
they did Embrace the Serpent, which was a big movie 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, I loved
Yeah,
Embrace the
so
Serpent.
it's-
That was my that was like my number 3 from that
yeah,
year.
you and Zach both
When we
listed
did
that
that.
really high in 2016.
Yeah,
so
it was like my number 3, I
this
think.
is their follow-up
Yeah.
movie, and
I had no idea.
I liked it even more than Embrace the Serpent. To me, this movie feels like if like Goodfellas and a nature documentary were combined in some way. Like it's just such a beautifully crafted story. But so it's about the Colombian drug cartel starting and basically with marijuana, but basically it's the first time I've ever seen the story told from Colombians. So, you always watch these kind of movies and it's like Pablo Escobar and like he's like smoking a cigar and shooting a gun while money's falling and there's like a girl next to him.
Yeah.
And it's like this is like talking about it from the Aborigines that live there, where they're like they had never seen money before. It's just it's sometimes there's I've never seen Narcos, but like because I have no interest, but sometimes that same tired genre's approach from a new perspective kind of turns it on its head and blows your mind. And that's what this movie did for me. It's very much about the Aborigines because they control a passage that would allow for the drug trade to happen, and they like earned the respect. The filmmakers earned the respect of the tribe to be able to tell the story and cast the actors in the movie. It blew me away. Like, Roma is a staggering achievement, and this movie was too. I think the difference is that I knew that Roma was something that was, I had heard it talked about for months and months. In this movie, I walked in kind of blind, just knowing that I liked Embrace the Serpent. Like, as like people liked that movie. I hadn't seen it until after I watched the movie. And it's just like, also it's done by a male and a female in a way that a lot of times they glorify these things, but most of the major like shootouts are like cut out of the movie, and there's like sex scenes that are just cut out of the movie. It doesn't glorify anything. And when you actually see something where it doesn't glorify it or objectify it, it kind of leaves you like staggered in a way where you're like, oh, I just watched a movie about the drug cartel that didn't make it look cool. And I have never seen them. Normally it's like Blow, where like Johnny Depp gained 8 pounds and is like doing fake cocaine for 3 hours and like
Paul
getting
Rubens is,
laid
like,
all the time. And it's
yeah.
like, no, like actually like this ruined lives and destroyed families, and like it's just the way that it's done. It's just very special. And I walked out of the theater. I was like by myself downtown Chicago, and I just started like walking home and thinking about the movie. And I walked all the way home from AMC Rivers North.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
it's like 4.5 miles in like late October. It's like it was like I just like kind of like kept walking and was like still thinking about the movie, and I was like, I'll get on the train here, and I just kept walking and thinking about the movie, and I was like, it blew me away. I still think about it, and I look forward to people being able to see it. But yeah, go see Roma. All right.
Well,
Cool.
what's cool is that your both of your top tens are like kind of cornerstoned around indigenous peoples, right? Like the main character in Roma, like she's also like an indigenous Mexican, so that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool that's your top two. Yeah.
I think that to me those kind of stories, and I know that I've talked to Zack about this as well, like, you know, there's also this year had more movies that I wanted to put in my top 10 or were in my top 10 directed by women than ever before, or I think I really responded to stories being told that I hadn't seen before or perspectives that I hadn't seen before. And obviously, I mean, none of us, it's impossible in 2019 or 2018 to live in a climate where you aren't aware of what's going on. So I think people are more interested, luckily, because of all the stuff that's going on now. So like those stories are being told, and I
sure.
like, obviously I don't think Black Panther's on any of our lists, but like that movie could be up for Best Picture. Like it's just crazy. Like,
Yeah, totally.
like it's a crazy time we live in. That like
It is,
people
man.
are celebrating marginalized stories in a way that. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but yeah,
No, it's
listen
fine.
to me rant about movies. But yeah, I just I think
That's what we do.
that was a takeaway for me, that like indigenous people and people that have been marginalized for a long time are finally getting like and it's only going to be more, and I think that that's great because it's only going to be
For sure.
more stories that are really cool to hear.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Very cool. Birds of Passage. I'll look out for that. I did really enjoy their film Embrace of the Serpent a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll be looking out for this one. All right. So Kat, you're number one.
It was Roma. It was Roma. I feel almost embarrassed to say it, but no, it was just so good. I mean, I cried.
Yeah,
well, because
fucking
it's everyone.
incredible
I mean, it's
movie.
everyone.
It's a landmark
No,
achievement.
Yeah.
It's a landmark achievement.
It's a landmark achievement. No, I cried. I thought it was so good. I mean, even from the first scene where like you're hearing like someone's like cleaning something, and then when she throws the water, and then you can like see their reflection, and I was just like, whoa! I was completely taken aback just from the first moment. And then I just loved how weird it was. Like it was so grounded and like a real story, and then it was just like really weird, like with the dog poop. It was like,
Yeah.
it was like so.
Yeah.
It was so weird, but it was so funny. Like it was quirky, and then. Yeah, and then just all the man like doing like weird bow staff moves, like naked. Like there was a dude getting shot out of a cannon, but then no,
Yeah,
like
just
it's this
in the
really,
background.
like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and it's never
in the
talked
background,
about.
not even like a close-up shot or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one talks about it. It's just happening. But I
Yeah.
mean, but besides all that, it's just such a you could definitely tell that like this is. Like, I know we were talking about earlier about how Under the Silver Lake, like, you could definitely tell, like, that was that guy's, like, passion project that he's been, like, waiting to
For
make his
sure.
whole life. And you could definitely tell that this was Alfonso Cuarón's, like, movie he's been waiting to make forever. Like,
Hands
maybe
down.
why he...
Yeah.
like, maybe this is why he started in the first place. Because, yeah, it was very personal. And, yeah, it was beautiful. There were parts of it that like really reminded me of like a Kurosawa
Yeah, for
movie.
sure.
I don't know if it was just in
Yeah.
black and white, but like I don't know, some
Yeah.
of like the landscapes and like the way like
Yeah.
the elements were like incorporated into it and to the story even. So yeah, it was I don't know.
Yeah, for
It was
sure.
Good shit. Just good shit.
Good shit.
Totally. It has such an air.
Totally.
It's such a simple story that like presents itself simply, but is so complex under the simplicity that it's once again I'm just like I don't know how they did it. I don't know. Like I don't know how you made it. I don't know how you
Man,
made it.
geniuses and stuff.
Yeah.
Woo, how do they do that?
I think both of those, if I ever buy the Blu-ray, those should both be like on the box cover, like box quotes, like good shit. And I don't know how they fucking made it.
How did
You know,
they
like,
make it? Yeah.
how did they make it?
Magnets. How does that
should be on
work? I mean, yeah, it's the same. It's the same feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, my number one was it's Phantom Thread.
Nice.
Yeah.
No.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, bringing it back.
Was that good?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's Roma, obviously. I think the film's a masterpiece. It's hard to say what more, you guys haven't already said, but like things like the dog poop, that like the focus on that clearly feels like that was a memory like he clearly had, like
So
like he thought like the
specific.
dog poop was always there, like yeah, like that was a very clear memory. The whole film feels that way. Like it feels like he's playing things through his memory, but in a way that like he's clearly coming to terms like with his own privilege, as like he grew up as like a very wealthy Mexican kid, but like this constant when he thinks back on his life is like this one like this maid that they had, who was always there, and I don't know. I found like it was clearly just like a love letter to her, and I felt like there was a lot of love there, and some critics and stuff have like kind of pooped on it a little bit because they feel like, I don't know, it's like appropriation in some way, or like they're not like, she's not like a real person, and I have to disagree because I think that she feels like a fleshed out real woman because she has her own friends, she goes on dates, she's living outside of the house, which is clearly outside of his like
that's crazy
his
to
own
me.
memories, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's outside
That's
of his
crazy.
own memories.
Like, just because someone's quiet and doesn't talk much doesn't mean they're not a real person. I know a lot of shy people
Right.
that...
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's insulting to quiet people, honestly. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I hadn't
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
that, but that's really crazy to me.
No, it's like a common complaint. I don't know. I just like, I think that's ridiculous, and I feel like that's just something to pick at because
like,
you're just trying to pick at.
Why
something.
is this the movie you're picking at? Like, this is the leave.
There's
This is the
nothing to
movie we
pick.
want.
There's nothing to pick at.
Yeah.
This is the
No.
movie we've been
I
wanting,
refuse.
right?
Yeah,
This is
I
the
refuse.
this is the movie you've wanted. Here it is. It's right there, and it's like the most perfect version of that.
Yeah.
And I did see this at home. I saw it on Netflix, and I can imagine that it would be an incredible theatrical experience.
Definitely.
But I will say that I enjoyed my own experience because
Good.
I do like I have a nice sound bar that has like the feature where like it kind of bounces sound around you, and the reason I say that is like I thought the audio mix was incredible.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely.
I felt completely immersed in like the environment of the shot.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing, and it was in 4K, streamed 4K, so it looked amazing.
4K.
And yeah, all the way. And I don't know, just like black and white has like such a like beauty to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it just really captured that, like it has its own look for sure. And there's like you shoot it a certain way for that black and white look, and I don't know, I just was just like loving every shot. I was loving every single shot. It was
Because there's so much
Well,
going on
it-
in every single
It
one.
was also the black and white definitely had a purpose too, because it kind of like harkened back to maybe the time when he
Yeah.
was growing up and how he saw movies, and like also the fact that it was
Right.
a memory. Like it wasn't just purposeless. Oh, I'm gonna like make it in black and white so it's really arty. Like it had a purpose, and yeah, that
for
was
sure.
that was nice. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and every shot meticulous, in every single like the pan shots are just like
So
Oh,
perfectly
so
timed,
good.
like-
Such good tracking.
Oh my god, it's just
It's like when they're
I
in a
love it.
store, they're in a building, and you're panning from an actor out the window to a group of like 50 to 100 people that are doing something.
to 200.
And
Yeah,
then-
that's
And then
crazy.
you pan back,
That's crazy.
and then they're doing. It's just like all so orchestrated.
Yeah,
like,
then you pan
exactly.
back, and then it's a gun reveal of someone.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like unbelievable.
yeah.
so good.
And it's crazy too because when you go into it, it's like, oh, this is supposedly quote unquote like a little film,
Yeah, it's like.
but it's really an epic.
Well,
It's an
no
epic
way.
movie.
It's a little film from the guy that did Gravity and Harry Potter 3.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
It's always my favorite Harry Potter.
It's
too.
still a. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. Yeah, it's the best.
the
Yeah,
best
man.
Harry Potter. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do think there's something to be said about only someone that has this much clout that follows up something like Gravity can make a movie this small, but with these big things in the background. Like, I think it's an achievement from a funding and financing perspective that I don't know if it's talked about too much, where like if any other director was like, we need a guy in a cannon, or they rebuilt all those sets in those streets of Mexico City for her just to run down on her way to a movie. They rebuilt blocks of Mexico from 1970s or 60s. And he was only able to do that because of like to take that clout and apply it to a tiny movie that is told in a huge way, but it's a small movie. Like I've seen 2 or 3 different movies about maids in Mexico. There's a big movie called The Maid, and people were like, go watch this one instead. But that movie takes place in a tiny hotel. This movie takes place in Mexico City in black and white.
Yeah.
It's the scale is amazing. There's 200 men doing bow staff maneuvers. And it's like a side plot. It's incredible. They're like it is so big for a character that is small in a crowd but big in her own heart. Like it's only through huge, like, that movie cost $50 million or whatever it costs to tell the story of like a person that people don't fixate on. And if that movie was told for $1 million, you'd be like, yeah, it was a good story, but like the scale, like, it's so beautiful.
Such a sense of size to it.
Yeah, and like the riots in the city are crazy. The fire in the forest.
Oh yeah, they burn down like a forest, and there's like a child in a spacesuit, and you're like, oh, what's that kid doing? You know, it's incredible.
It's amazing.
Like there's like a chupacabra like guy. It's so good. It's so good. It's
yeah.
I
don't think we could keep going on and on.
To tie it back to 2017's Phantom Thread. There's a shot where he goes to like a New Year's party where he's like looking for his wife, and she stays out too late at a party, and he's like walking in his rafters, and there's a party going on behind him, and it's only one shot in the movie, and I was like, holy fucking shit, this shot is amazing. Yeah, that's like Roma every scene. It's like, totally. It's so good. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah,
for real.
Yeah,
and like you said, Sean, earlier, like, the fact that it's like on Netflix, you can watch it right now.
Yeah,
like
the accessibility is amazing.
Insane.
Yeah, it's like, I live in Chicago, and a lot of movies on my list, I've been like, yeah, I saw this at this festival, or yeah, we went to this festival, because, you know, like, Zack and I have been to several festivals for like screenings of our movies, so like we've been able to see stuff that even I wouldn't have gone out to see. We just like we're at a festival, like, for like a little girl in Arkansas that's like 13 that can then just like stream Roma in 4K. It's like it's amazing. Like, the thought, because that's going to create a new generation of filmmakers that have access.
It's true.
That I think is really cool.
Totally.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well said. And with that, let's move on to our honorable mentions.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Let's talk about the movies that didn't make the list. I actually made on Letterboxd. I made a top 30 films.
Oh
I've never done this before. Yeah. Here's probably the rest. This is probably in order of the rest of the films. So starting with number 11, The Favorite, If Beale Street Could Talk, Madeline's Madeline, Paddington 2,
Nice.
8th Grade,
Nice.
Private Life,
Sweet.
Black Panther, Blind Spotting, The Sisters Brothers, You Were Never Really Here, Death of Stalin, Black Klansman, Won't You Be My Neighbor, Suspiria, The Endless, Zama, Sorry to Bother You, First Man, Game Night, and Revenge. So those were my honorable mentions.
Cool, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's a good top 30. A lot of good movies this year.
Good movies, man. There's some good movies this year.
Yeah, man.
Gotta say.
Killer.
Mine were
and like I said, like, oh sorry,
No,
like
fine.
I said, like after like 5, they're all kind of like equal to me.
Totally.
You know, like they're all like blended in. It was the last few days leading up to this episode. They were all like interchangeable. You know, like they were. I had If Beale Street Could Talk was in there. The Favorite was like my number 8 for a long time. Like The Sisters Brothers was in my top 10. Like I don't know, they're all like
For sure, man.
It was really hard to like narrow that down, but they're all kind of equal in my mind.
Sweet.
You know. Yeah.
For sure. All right, mine. I didn't order them, but my honorable mentions were Annihilation, Minding the Gap, Damsel, The Sisters Brothers, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Shirkers, Widows, Burning, and Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Nice.
Sweet. For me, I had a couple that were tied for 11, and that was Minding the Gap, Thunder Road, Annihilation, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Isle of Dogs, Private Life, Bad Times at the El Royale, Let the Sunshine In, Apostle, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Burning, Hereditary, The Rider, and Unsane.
Oh yeah, I forgot Unsane in the honorable mentions.
Oh, Unsane. I'm surprised that didn't make your list, actually,
I'm
Sean.
actually very surprised.
Let me tell you.
I'm
I'm
back to
shocked.
some fucking
It did
restraint
make
over
my
here,
list.
bud.
It was number 11, Wes. So, also, 2 movies that I cut at the last second in classic me fashion was Widows and Leave No
I
Trace.
heard that was good. Yeah.
So, yeah, Widows and Leave No Trace. Check them out.
Yeah, they're good.
Leave No Trace was
Leave
good
No
too,
Trace.
man.
Yeah, I love... let's just talk about Leave No Trace. I love that movie. I was surprised. I didn't really like Winter's Bone. Leave No Trace, so watchable. Killer movie.
It's just such a it's like a slow, quiet. It's such a quiet movie.
Yeah.
Is the best way to describe it. But it's I don't know. It's really good.
There's a scene
really
at a
good.
church where there's a troupe doing flag dancing. Oh my god, that almost made my list just for that scene alone. So good. It's like
That part is pretty
it's
good.
so good. All right, sorry.
Anyways, anything you want to mention, Kat? Maybe honorable mentions? Anything at all?
I was really into Monster Hunter World and Destiny 2 this year, so that took literally all the rest of my time. So I will honorably mention those 2, and that is all I have.
What kind of class you playing in Destiny 2? Are you what are you?
Hunter mostly.
Hunter,
which is a bad thing for me because I'm a really really bad at jumping puzzles, but that's what I picked. So just gotta
Nice.
ride it out. But yeah, I spent a lot of time, too much time into that and not enough time watching movies. So I do not have an honorable mention list. It's a lot of bad movies, but I would not honorably mention them.
We're not going to have a lot of time coming up because Anthem comes out, and me, Kat, and her boyfriend, Travis, we're going to be playing Anthem
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
for a lot of
Nice.
yeah.
I did see
We're gonna be playing a lot of
video of Anthem, and I was like, okay. It was like a robot that was flying, and then it went underwater, and then was like swimming, and I was like, you can be a robot that swims and flies?
Yes!
Yes.
The
In the same
future!
shot, no loading screen. It was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Pretty cool.
You're basically Iron Man. Like Iron Man in like a different planet,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
I want to be Iron Man.
I want to be Iron Man.
I want to be Iron Man. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode, guys. As always, you can find other episodes of this podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube.
Why don't you go ahead, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, And if you enjoy the show, consider leaving us a review, just like, casual 5-star review, because, everything matters.
Yeah.
And feel free, just shoot us an email with literally anything you want to say at listen to us
Literally
at gmail.com. Could be your grocery list. Send it over. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll do a quick
Literally anything.
plug for Patreon. I'm a Patreon subscriber, and let me just tell you, I don't miss the money.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there listening to this podcast. You can just throw $1. I know for a fact several people who listen to this podcast have probably dropped $1 on the ground, had a sore back, and not picked it up. So maybe you just take that $1 and donate it to patreon.com/LTURAM podcast. That is quite the handle, but if you care about Wes and Zach, you will donate.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yes.
if you made it this far in the episode, fucking throw a bone. Let's be real.
Yeah, I know. Come on, seriously. You made it this far. You
Seriously.
can throw us $1.
This is like
you know what I mean?
2.5 hours of free content. Fucking throw it a bone.
It's $1. It's less than a soda in like a vending machine. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Come on.
Go for it.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Sean, for coming on,
Yeah.
and
Thanks
you,
for having
Kat,
me.
also
Thanks for
coming
having
on.
me. Yeah, it was fun.
It was awesome having both of you guys. This episode's always a blast, so thanks for coming on. It was awesome.
Thanks.
Cool.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and
All right, good night.
until next time.
Until next
Bye.
time.